My husband's first love and I both suffered severe hemorrhaging during difficult childbirths, desperately needing blood transfusions to survive. My husband chose to abandon me and save his first love instead. The hospital eventually secured more blood, but by then, I had only barely clung to life, devastated by the loss of my child. I was in a daze of grief when I missed a step on the stairs and fell to my death. When I woke again, I had returned to a time before it all began. Gu Yuanzhou. This time I set you free, Yuanzhou. Save our child, please, save it. A searing pain tore through me from below, as if it were splitting my body in two. Cold sweat mingled with tears in my eyes, stinging them with a sharp ache. I clutched Gu Yuanzhou's hand tightly, turning my head to plead with him. The man met my gaze, his face flickering with conflict and reluctance. Ah, Yuanzhou, save me. I don't want to die. From the neighboring delivery bed, Wang Ji let out a piercing scream. Gu Yuanzhou froze, caught in an impossible dilemma. A human life was hanging in the balance. Seeing him paralyzed by indecision, the doctor couldn't help but urge him on. 2 mothers are hemorrhaging during difficult labor. The hospital only has enough blood for one. Battalion Commander Gu, you must decide quickly. Who gets it? Gu Yuanzhou clenched his fists, his teeth grinding audibly. He looked at me, then at Wang Ji, who was crying out in continuous agony. His eyes, after closing and reopening, held nothing but resolve. His voice was hoarse, yet loud enough for the doctors and nurses to hear. Save Wang Ji first, save her. Boom. It felt like a thunderclap had exploded inside his head. My mind was a complete blank. All I could see were the hazy, frantic shapes of doctors and nurses bustling around Wang Ji. When I woke again, I had no idea how many days had passed. I was alone in the hospital room. My once swollen belly deflated like a balloon losing its air. I was desperate to see my child. Gritting my teeth against the searing pain, I got out of bed and stopped a nurse in the hallway. After I gave her my name and age, the nurse looked at me with pity. Didn't Battalion Commander Gu tell you? Your baby was in distress for too long during delivery and was stillborn. We managed to save your life with a timely blood transfusion. But, you won't be able to have children again. You're still young. Try to see things in a different light. Please, don't do anything drastic, she sighed, patted my shoulder in a gesture of comfort, and walked away with a heavy heart. When grief reaches its absolute peak, a person probably just goes numb. I drifted through the hospital like a lost soul, moving without thought or purpose. As I passed a patient's room, a familiar figure caught the corner of my eye. It was Gu Yuanzhou. He placed the sleeping infant into the crib, then turned and handed a bowl of soup to Wang Ji. Wang Ji accepted it shyly, took a few sips with her head bowed, and broke the silence in a sullen tone. Yuanzhou, you saved me first in the delivery room. Do you think Xia will give you a hard time when she wakes up? If she wants to blame someone, let her blame me. It's my fault for using the hospital's blood supply first, which caused her to lose the baby and her chance to be a mother. It's all my fault. Woo woo woo. Even when crying, a beautiful person looks beautiful, which somehow makes it all the more heartbreaking. Gu Yuanzhou hastily fetched a handkerchief to wipe Wang Ji's tears. I was the one who told the doctors to save you first, so none of this is your fault. Zayan died a hero in the line of duty. You're a martyr's family, and your child is a martyr's legacy. It's only right that we look after you. Lin Xia. At the mention of me, Gu Yuanzhou's expression gradually turned cold. She tried to harm you, but ended up destroying herself and her own child. Thank heavens you and the baby are safe. How could I ever have faced Zayan otherwise? With a mother as malicious as Lin Xia, that child would only have been warped. Perhaps it's a mercy it never came into this world. Lin Xia is lucky to be alive at all. What more could she possibly complain about? The icy words struck my ears, sending a chill that seeped into my very bones. Gu Yuanzhou is my husband, and the father of my child. He could be heartless to me, but how could he turn a blind eye to our own child? I've not only lost my child, but I can never be a mother again. Yet, Wang Ji nearly bled to death on the delivery table. This is my husband. This is the man I admire so deeply, the man I see as my hero. I'm such a failure. I can't even hold my husband's heart, let alone protect my own child. My child, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry I found you such a terrible father. I was laughing and crying, tears streaming down my face, my vision blurred with tears. I didn't notice I was walking down the stairs. My foot slipped, and I tumbled head over heels down the stairs. Before my eyes closed, I heard a nurse scream, "Help, someone's fallen and is bleeding badly." I jolted awake from my sleep, staring blankly at the familiar concrete ceiling. The aroma of the meal drifted into the room, waking my appetite before I did. I snapped back to reality, remembering I had been reborn back to when I was 3 months pregnant. My past life felt like a lifetime ago. Yet the memories were so vivid it could have been yesterday. Gu Yuanzhou pushed the door open and entered. Seeing me still lying in bed, he frowned slightly, he sighed, pulled up a chair, and sat down by the bedside. You haven't had dinner yet, have you? I brought some food back from the cafeteria. Come on, get up and eat a little. Even if you don't eat, the baby needs to. After you eat, I'll go for a walk downstairs with you. It'll be good for both of you and the baby. I lay with my back to Gu Yuanzhou, still refusing to say a word. Gu Yuanzhou's patience finally snapped. He grabbed my shoulder and turned me onto my back. His expression was a mix of irritation and exhaustion. Lin Xia, you're about to be a mother. Are you really going to pull a childish stunt like a hunger strike just because you didn't get your way? It's just a job. Is it really worth all this fuss and a hunger strike? It's not like I can't support you. Oh, now I remember. The job Gu Yuanzhou took so lightly was the elementary school teaching position I fought tooth and nail to get. In the last couple of years, more and more military families have moved in, and the kids have been running wild outside every day. Verbal spats often escalated into physical fights. As the saying goes, if you hit the young one, the old one will come looking for trouble. The residential compound was in constant uproar, with not a single day of peace. After some deliberation, the leadership gave the order and established a kindergarten and a primary school. Every single child from the family compound was sent to school. We had the school and the students, but we were missing the teachers. However, the military base was in a remote location. It took 3 hours just to drive to the county town. Most of the educated youth from the cities had been sent down to the countryside, making finding teachers a real challenge. After some more thought, the leader decided to simply recruit teachers from among the military dependents. For the kindergarten teachers, a primary school education certificate was sufficient. The requirements for elementary school teachers were a bit higher, requiring at least a junior high school diploma. I was very excited when I heard the news. Gu Yuanzhou's stipend was enough to keep us fed and clothed, but being able to earn my own money was a completely different matter. Money in hand brings peace of mind. With my rare high school diploma, I successfully secured a job as a primary school teacher. We're just waiting for the school to purchase all the desks, chairs, and teaching materials before classes can officially begin. Just as I was anxiously and eagerly awaiting the start of the school term, Gu Yuanzhou suddenly told me he had given my job to Ruan Ji. His reason was that Ruan Ji's husband had died a glorious death in service. She was pregnant, and had a 3-year-old son to support. She needed the job more than I did. I was furious and told him to go to the leadership to get my job back. I made a point of emphasizing the word my. Gu Yuanzhou flatly refused. How can you take back something that's already been given? Besides, the boss has already informed Ruan Ji. It's too late to ask for it back now. How much clout do you think I have with the boss to keep making demands over and over? I don't care. I earned that job on my own merit. Why did the boss choose me over Ruan Ji? Wasn't it because my qualifications are better and I'm a better teacher? That job is rightfully mine. What gives you the right to make decisions for me? Just because you're not as skilled, you think you can steal someone else's job? I'm going to ask her to her face and see how she has the nerve. Blinded by anger, I turned to leave, but Gu Yuanzhou blocked the doorway, refusing to let me step out of the house. He looked at me with disappointment. Lin Xia, you're going to be a mother soon, so you should understand Ruan Ji's difficulties. She's all alone, having to care for the older child while also carrying the one in her womb. It's a heavy burden. You're different. You have me. This job is optional for you. But it's crucial for her. If you have any compassion left, you should let her have it. Gu Yuanzhou tucked a stray strand of hair behind my ear, his eyes dark and unfathomable, his tone grave. Lin Xia, don't let me down, okay? I was so upset I felt a tightness in my chest. I went straight to the bedroom without eating dinner. I woke up this morning to find I had been reborn, overwhelmed by a surge of extreme emotions. A dull ache began to throb in my lower abdomen. I didn't dare move. After a hasty lunch, I lay back down in bed, having regained what was lost. Nothing is more important to me than my child. My child, this time, I will make sure you are born safe and sound. I'm the one who's been wronged, and you're telling me not to make a fuss. I let out a cold laugh, sat up, and faced Gu Yuanzhou. Why shouldn't I care about what's mine? Battalion Commander Gu curries favor by giving away my things. And I'm the petty one for being unhappy about it. In that case, I won't take the blame for nothing. If you want my job, fine, tell Ruan Ji to give me 300 yuan. Consider it buying the position. I won't say another word, otherwise, I'll have to go to the leadership and let them decide for me. In my past life, no matter how hard I argued or how strongly I objected, Gu Yuanzhou still gave the job to Ruan Ji. Since Ruan Ji stole my job, I naturally had no reason to be friendly with her, yet Ruan Ji kept trying to talk to me, and if I didn't respond, She'd put on this pitiful, victimized act. She had to put on a brave face and cover for me. Over time, the most unbelievable rumors began to circulate in the residential compound. They said I was jealous that Won Ji had become a primary school teacher, and that I held a grudge against her for failing to snatch the job. Thankfully, Gu Yuanzhou's integrity and fairness prevented me from succeeding. Otherwise, Won Ji, a widow with a child, would have no way to survive. I am by nature aloof and reserved, poor at socializing. No one believes me, let alone speaks up for me. Every time I go out, I can hear the military wives whispering and feel their scornful gazes upon me. Heaven took pity and granted me a second chance at life. This time, no one will easily take what is mine. If you dare reach out, you'll pay the price. Gu Yuanzhou was deeply displeased with my aggressive stance. Lin Xia, my stipend is more than enough to keep you comfortable. What do you need that 304? The Ruan family has lost their income now. If you drain Zayan's death benefits, how are Won Ji and her child supposed to survive? Trying to use morality to force me to back down? No way, I smiled. I am deeply saddened and sympathetic about Battalion Commander Zhou's untimely death. However, Won Ji is no relation of mine, and I won't sacrifice my own interests to help her. Won Ji is a martyr's widow, so naturally, the state will look after her. Buying a job with money means she'll get a salary every month from now on. Isn't that much better than scraping by on that meager pension? When you think about it, it's a deal with no downside. Gu Yuanzhou narrowed his eyes, his gaze filled with displeasure. Lin Xia, you really have a one-track mind for money. I lowered my head and gently placed a hand on my abdomen. A new life was growing there. Raising a child costs a fortune. I was planning to save up by working as a teacher. But now you want to give my job to Won Ji. I can't afford to lose on both counts. Can I? Give me 300 yuan, and the job is yours. Otherwise, I'll go to the leadership and demand justice. Then we'll all become famous in the unit. For all the wrong reasons, Gu Yuanzhou looked displeased, so I poured fuel on the fire. I have nothing to lose, but Won Ji just lost her husband. If her reputation is ruined too, how is she supposed to get by? I stood my ground and refused to budge, leaving Gu Yuanzhou no choice but to storm out, slamming the door behind him, probably off to raise money for Won Ji. I felt nothing inside. I just want to get the money, plain and simple. If Won Ji wants to be an elementary school teacher, just let her. The next day, I went out for a walk and ran right into Won Ji. I didn't want to see her and was about to turn away, but she grabbed my arm. She spoke with earnest sincerity and an affectionate manner, as if we were the closest of sisters. Lin Xia, I heard from Yuanzhou that you're upset with him over not getting the teaching position. That's really not fair of you. If you ask me, our primary duty is to take care of the home, while the men protect the country. We should be their strongest support, don't you agree? After finishing her lecture, Won Ji shifted her tone, her brow furrowing slightly as she gazed at her own reflection with self-pity. You're luckier than I am, not like me, having to go to work even while heavily pregnant. TSK, it sounds like complaining, but it's really just showing off. See, even without a husband, there are still men willing to step up and solve my problems. Doesn't that just make you green with envy? I withdrew my hand, ignoring her pitiful act, and spoke with a stern expression. Battalion Commander Zhou gave his life for our country. He was a true hero, and the nation and its people will remember his sacrifice. As a martyr's family member, you should take pride in him. Why would you say you have bad luck? Do you harbor some resentment towards the state? This particular era places a special emphasis on the selfless spirit of dedicating oneself to the nation's development. Won Ji says she's had a hard lot in life, having to go out to work after losing her husband. Isn't that just her harboring resentment over Zhou Zayan's sacrifice, holding grievances against the country and the government? That kind of thinking is very dangerous. I should be a good Samaritan and have a proper talk with her to set her straight. Being a military wife isn't for nothing. Won Ji clearly had the same thought. Her face went pale. I patted her shoulder and gave her a serious, encouraging pep talk. Comrade Won Ji, as the great man said, women hold up half the sky. With dedication and hard work, we women are no less capable than men. Battalion Commander Zhou is a hero known throughout our forces. You mustn't let fear or difficulty hold you back and become a burden to him. Just focus on being a teacher. If you encounter difficulties in life, the organization is here for you. We'll find a way to get by. As soon as the words were spoken, applause broke out from behind. Turning around, she saw it was Sister Gua, the wife of Political Commissar Yang. Her hair was meticulously swept back into a neat bun. It was a perfect reflection of her own character, efficient, decisive, fair, and selfless. So whenever disputes arose among the military wives, they would always go to her to seek judgment and mediation. Well said. Sister Gua gave me an approving nod. Then turned her attention to Wanji. Wanji, now that you have a job, focus on it and settle in. With Zayn gone, you have to stand on your own 2 feet, otherwise life will only get harder. If you run into any trouble, come to me, I'll do my best to help you sort it out. Wanji's eyes welled up with tears, and she bit her lip until it turned pale. Sister Gua, Lin Xia is demanding 300 yuan from me, but where on earth am I supposed to get that kind of money? Sister-in-law Gua frowned. Lin Xia, what's the meaning of this? Are you bullying a martyr's family? Well, trying to make me look bad right to my face. You think you're the only one who can play the victim. I secretly pinched my thigh, my eyes quickly welling up with tears as a bitter smile tugged at the corner of my lips. Well, the army primary school was looking for a teacher, and I met all the requirements, so the leadership hired me. But my husband Yuanzhou said Comrade Wanji's family was struggling and suggested I give the job to her. I thought about it and realized he was right, so I proposed that Comrade Wanji buy out my position for 300 yuan. That way, no one could accuse her of taking advantage of me just because she's a martyr's family member. Who would want to associate with her then? Sister-in-law Gua looked thoughtful, while Wanji wore an expression of grievance. I sighed and began to talk about my own difficulties. I didn't really want to take that 300 yuan, but I'm expecting now. Yuanzhou's allowance has to be sent back to his family, and soon we'll have a child to raise. Everything costs money. I wouldn't have even gone for that school teaching interview otherwise. Sister-in-law Gua gave Wanji a reproachful look. Wanji, you must be clearer when you speak next time, or I might have wrongly blamed Lin Xia. What Lin Xia said makes sense. The school job was rightfully hers. Her giving it up would be a kindness, but keeping it is only her due. Since she was generous enough to let you have it, you can't just take it for free. Here's what we'll do. You pay 200, and the organization will cover the remaining 100. Wanji's smile froze on her face. Her attempt to get something for nothing backfired, costing her 200 yuan instead. She replied insincerely, I'll listen to you, sister-in-law. I'll definitely give the money to Lin Xia in a couple of days. Her unhappiness is my happiness. I beamed a wide smile and offered my advice sincerely. Comrade Wanji, while you weren't selected due to a lack of ability during the interview, diligence can compensate for shortcomings. As long as you study and practice more, you will certainly improve. Children are the successors to the revolutionary cause. You must teach your classes well and not betray the trust placed in you by the organization, the parents, and the students. When I bluntly pointed out her incompetence, the forced smile on Wanji's face nearly cracked. Thanks for the reminder. I'll be sure to prepare thoroughly. Since it's your first pregnancy and you lack experience, you should just stay home and rest up. After half a month, the school's preparatory work was finally completed, and it was ready to officially open. I took the fabric and sewing kit, ready to go upstairs and ask sister-in-law Yang to teach me how to make clothes. Gu Yuanzhou opened the door and entered. A child cradled in his arms. It was Wanji's son, Zhou Ming. I just glanced at them and then acted as if they weren't there, gathering my things to leave. As I brushed past Gu Yuanzhou, he grabbed my arm. I looked at him in surprise. Gu Yuanzhou set the child down. He hesitated, the words on the tip of his tongue, before finally speaking with caution. Wanji has class, and Mingming has no one to watch him. Could you look after him? Is it not enough that Gu Yuanzhou himself runs around doing Wanji's every bidding? Now he wants to drag me into this act of devotion too. I scoffed and rolled my eyes right in front of Gu Yuanzhou. First of all, Wanji and I aren't close enough for me to babysit her child. Secondly, kids that age are a handful. What if he gets a stomachache from drinking water, or trips and gets hurt while walking? Wanji might think I'm doing it on purpose to get back at her, which, to be fair, I do have a problem with her. In short, I'm not babysitting. Whoever took on the task should see it through. Seizing the moment while Gu Yuanzhou was lost in thought, I grabbed my things and left. I can't control everything under the sun, nor can I stop Gu Yuanzhou from fawning over Wanji. If the kid wants to watch, let him watch. I spent the whole morning sewing clothes at sister-in-law Yang's place. It was time for dinner, so I headed home to cook. I figured no one would be home, so I could look forward to some quiet time alone. But the moment I opened the door, I was met with a shocking scene. The living room was a mess, with little black footprints and water stains tracked everywhere. The sofa cover I had so carefully chosen was crumpled and half-dragged onto the floor. The coffee table was piled with dirty dishes, surrounded by cookie crumbs of all sizes. The more I looked, the angrier I got, my hands clenching into tight fists. The slightly ajar bedroom door swung open, and Zhou Ming came bounding out, grinning, with just a towel wrapped around his waist. He's actually holding my underwear. How outrageous. How is Gu Yuanzhou watching the kid, letting him run wild and rummage through the house like this? I put the things in my hand down on the shoe cabinet. And in 2 quick strides, I scooped up Zhou Ming and sat down with him on the sofa. Let go, that's mine. Rage surged within me. I took a deep breath to force it down, stopping myself from immediately disciplining the mischievous child. Seeing my dark expression, Zhou Ming was stunned for a moment, then erupted into an ear-splitting wail. Wah, mean lady, give it back. Hit, 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 he flailed at me, crying as he swung his arms and legs, afraid he'd hit my stomach. I quickly shifted to the side. Zhou Ming lay on his back, flailing his limbs like an overturned turtle. What's wrong? What happened? Gu Yuanzhou rushed over from the balcony in a frantic hurry, his hands covered in soap suds. It looked like he was washing Zhou Ming's pants. Gu Yuanzhou's devotion, extending even to this extent, was truly moving and profound. I pointed at Zhou Ming and said indignantly, how are you watching the kid? Not only did he turn the house upside down, but you let him go into the bedroom, rummage through my closet, and parade my underwear around. I just wanted to get my things back, and he had the nerve to call me the bad guy and try to hit me. Gu Yuanzhou dismissed the concern, wiped his hands, and scooped Zhou Ming into his arms to soothe him gently. He's only 3 years old, right at that lively and energetic age. How much sense do you expect him to have? Besides, I'm just a man, what do I know about looking after a child? If you were here at home helping out, maybe this whole mess wouldn't have happened. I snatched the clothes back, put them away in the bedroom, and came out, closing the door firmly behind me. Zhou Ming stopped his crying and fussing, settling contentedly on Gu Yuanzhou's lap to play, a picture of paternal affection and filial joy, a scene of domestic harmony. It made my heart ache to see it. Gu Yuanzhou dotes on Ruanji's child, yet remains utterly indifferent to our own. In my past life, he said I deserved the loss of my child and my inability to become a mother again, but it was clearly Ruanji who was flaunting her triumph right in front of me. They went on and on about how doting Gu Yuanzhou was on Zhou Ming, how attentive and considerate he was to her. It was a dig at me, implying that as Gu Yuanzhou's wife, I couldn't even hold his heart. I was both furious and heartbroken. Amidst the emotional turmoil, a dull ache began to throb in my belly. I wasn't in the mood to argue with her, so I moved to step around her and leave. Ruanji, however, grabbed my hand and pressed it against her, then slipped and fell backwards. With a look of terror on her face, she shrieked, "Ah, Lin Xia, why did you push me?" I didn't miss the triumph in her eyes as she pulled me down the steps with her. Gu Yuanzhou happened to arrive just in time to witness me pushing Ruanji. And that's the so-called truth of reaping what you sow. I walked to the kitchen, poured a glass of warm water, and leaned against the doorframe, sneering, the child doesn't know any better, but the adult doesn't either. Battalion Commander Gu is a grown man, yet he can't keep an eye on a 3-year-old. If you don't have the skills, don't take on the job. You can't manage the kid and made a mess of the house, and now you're blaming me for not helping. I've heard of outsourcing filial duties, but outsourcing the work of a spineless simp, that's a new one. In my past life, after I died, my spirit wandered for decades, witnessing the rapid and ever-changing progress of the world that followed. People in later generations would call someone like Gu Yuanzhou a simp. It wasn't enough for him to simp on his own, he expected others to join him in fawning over her. Of course, Gu Yuanzhou had no idea what a simp was, but that didn't stop him from inferring the true meaning of simp from my tone and attitude. It's not a nice word, anyway. He pressed his thin lips together, stubbornly refusing to admit he was wrong. Lin Xia, when did you learn to be so unreasonable? I've told you, I'm only looking after Ruanji and her son out of brotherly loyalty to Zayan. It's not for any other reason. Stop letting your imagination run wild and going around tarnishing Comrade Ruanji's reputation. I've been married to Gu Yuanzhou for 3 years, but it was only 3 months ago that we first slept together. That night, Gu Yuanzhou came back from Zhou Zayan's place, unusually drunk. In vino veritas, I heard with my own ears Gu Yuanzhou murmuring Ruanji's name. He said he wasn't brave enough back then, and that losing Ruanji was what he deserved. Later, I made some discreet inquiries about them. Gu Yuanzhou, Zhou Zayan, and Ruanji were all from the same village. Before the founding of the People's Republic, the Ruan family were major landlords. While the ancestors of Gu Yuanzhou and Zhou Zayan had been tenant farmers for the Ruan family for generations, later, during a particular historical period, the Ruan family was labeled as one of the 5 black categories and subjected to public criticism and struggle sessions. Ruanji was implicated as well, plunging her life into misery and hardship. Zhou Zayan, who had grown up with her, had by then already distinguished himself with meritorious service in the military. To rescue his beloved from her suffering, he defied his family's objections and married Ruanji, who came from a landlord family. He then brought her to live with him at the army post. shielding her from backbreaking labor and the scorn and humiliation of others. Zhou Zhan risked his future and succeeded in winning her heart, marrying the woman of his dreams. Gu Yuanzhou also liked Ruan Ji, but he didn't dare take the risk. So he could only silently wish his good friend and the woman he loved well. 3 years ago, Gu Yuanzhou came to Shangyang village to visit his grandparents. He accidentally saved me when I slipped and fell into the water. My parents then pinned the responsibility on him, forcing him to marry me, albeit reluctantly. My parents favor sons over daughters. I can't even count how many beatings and scoldings I endured. How much hardship I suffered, just to make it through high school. Right after graduating high school, I passed the exam and got a job at the county food processing plant, but my parents helped my younger brother steal that job from me, and then tried to sell me off into the mountains to collect a bride price. I will never forget the look of sheer greed on their faces. High school girls are great, they fetch a good price. I fell into the water while fleeing overnight and was rescued by Gu Yuanzhou. My parents seized the chance to threaten him into marrying me, demanding a bride price of 500 yuan, or else they'd report him for being a pervert. Gu Yuanzhou had no choice but to comply. I don't resent Gu Yuanzhou for not loving me or touching me. He saved me from the tragic fate of being sold off, and by letting me follow the army, he took me far away from my parents who favored sons over daughters. All I feel towards him is guilt and gratitude, so I do my best to take care of all his daily needs, ensuring he has no worries on the home front. Zhou Zhan sacrificed himself, and under the banner of being a good brother, he openly took care of the woman he loved. He had feelings for Ruan Ji, yet he was too afraid of gossip and scandal to divorce me. Faced with a life or death choice, as a husband, he abandoned his wife. As a father, he forsook his own child, after 3 years of marriage. He could be so heartless and cold. Gu Yuanzhou is my husband, the father of my child, yet he refuses to show us the slightest bit of favor. If that's how it is, don't blame me for turning my back on you. If you want to be Ruan Ji's husband, I'll make it happen for you. Being right doesn't mean you have to shout. The louder Gu Yuanzhou's voice got, the more it betrayed his guilt. I watched Gu Yuanzhou's furious tantrum with a cold eye before turning and walking into the kitchen. Whether it was for Zhou Zhan or not, you know the truth. I quickly made a bowl of egg noodles, ate it, and cleaned up the kitchen. Gu Yuanzhou was in the living room, eagerly watching the kitchen. Seeing me come out empty-handed, he couldn't help but demand, "Did you eat by yourself? You didn't cook for us." He'd been watching the kids all morning and was starving by now. Seeing me go into the kitchen, he thought he'd finally get a hot meal, only to find out I hadn't cooked any for them at all. I clicked my tongue in annoyance. What are you going to do about it if I eat by myself? Can't you make your own food if you're hungry, or go to the cafeteria? Did you just not eat before you married me? Gu Yuanzhou was left speechless. I couldn't be bothered with him. I went into the bedroom and closed the door behind me, shutting out Gu Yuanzhou's resentful glare. I had no idea how Gu Yuanzhou sorted out his lunch, and I couldn't be bothered to find out. When I woke up, the house was completely silent. In the afternoon, I went out for a walk and happened to run into Ruan Ji, who was there to pick up her son. I have to admire Ruan Ji's mental fortitude. Even after I swindled her out of $200, she could still talk to me with a smile. "Lin Xia, I'm here to pick up Ming Ming. I hope he wasn't too much trouble for you today." "My apologies," I spoke bluntly. "If you knew it was trouble, you shouldn't have sent him over, but it's no skin off my nose." Gu Yuanzhou was the one looking after the kid, and he was more than happy to do it. Ruan Ji lifted her chin, clearly pleased with her own appeal, even as her words feigned modesty. "We're just a widow and her child, and Yuanzhou takes pity on us. Please don't read too much into it. That's a classic case of protesting too much. See, Gu Yuanzhou treats me better than he treats you, his lawful wife." I, however, had no patience for her evasive tactics. "Tell me, what if I divorce Gu Yuanzhou and you marry him instead? It's not like his feelings for you are anything new." Ruan Ji was no naive young girl. The way Gu Yuanzhou looked at her was far from innocent. She basked in the satisfaction of her own allure while comfortably accepting all the kindness Gu Yuanzhou showed her. They just haven't addressed the elephant in the room yet. With Zhou Zhan's sacrifice, she no longer had any reason to stay in the military. She would have to leave as soon as the child was born. Ruan Ji was hardly one to endure hardship. With the world outside still in turmoil, raising 2 children would be an immense struggle. Men in the military are more reliable than those on the outside. Marrying an officer would not only continue to provide shelter for her and her family, but also allow her to live a good life as an officer's wife. In my past life, she risked herself to frame me, successfully making me lose all hope for Gu Yuanzhou. Then she cleared the way for herself. The dark scheme buried in her heart was suddenly exposed to the light of day. Ruan Ji's face instantly paled, her eyes welling up with tears. "Lin Xia, don't talk nonsense. Yuanzhou only looks after us for Zayan's sake. There's nothing between Yuanzhou and me. You're reading too much into it. A beautiful woman with tears in her eyes is a truly pitiful sight. If Gu Yuanzhou saw this, he'd probably want nothing more than to pull her into his arms and comfort her right away. A clean slate. Your son had a fever in the middle of the night, and Gu Yuanzhou took him to the hospital and stayed by his side all night. When you were pregnant and craving oranges, Gu Yuanzhou drove 3 hours just to get them for you. When you needed a job to support your family, Gu Yuanzhou took it upon himself to give you my job. A wave of immense anger and helplessness washed over me. So this is how powerless I am, whether as a daughter or a wife. My parents and my husband can so easily take what's mine. But why? What gives you the right? Blinded by rage, I grabbed Wanji's wrist and demanded an answer, my voice sharp. I hate it when people steal my work. If I hadn't offered to sell the job to you, would you have just pretended not to know and accepted Gu Yuanzhou's kindness? Completely ignoring how hurt and angry I am, Wanji opened her mouth, but had no defense. I let go of her hand and chuckled softly. See, you know everything. You've enjoyed all the benefits. You just choose to pretend you don't. Ah, bad woman, bullying mom. Hit, hit, hit. Suddenly, Zhou Ming came charging from my front left side, shouting, like a little bull calf. Seeing he was about to crash into my stomach, I hastily took a step back. Zhou Ming missed his target, banged his head on the edge of the flower bed, and burst into loud, wailing sobs. Gu Yuanzhou rushed over in a few quick strides, shoved me aside, scooped up Zhou Ming, and strode off. He's just a kid, what were you dodging for? Blood from the cut on Zhou Ming's forehead streamed down, smearing his face, and he cried in ragged, gasping sobs from the pain. Wanji's face was etched with worry as she followed Gu Yuanzhou and left. No one asked if I was okay. No one offered a hand to help me up. A sharp cramp seized my lower abdomen, and a rush of warmth spread beneath me. No, my baby. I came back for one reason, to save my child. I screamed for help, and finally, 2 military wives came to my aid. They scrambled to get me to the hospital. Thankfully, there was only a little spotting. With prompt medication and proper rest, everything will be fine. I thanked them and spent the night in the hospital. I went home the next day to an empty house. Gu Yuanzhou was probably at the hospital taking care of Zhou Ming. At 9 in the evening, Gu Yuanzhou returned, looking utterly exhausted. Seeing me sitting motionless on the sofa, he casually ordered, "Make a pot of chicken soup for Mingming tomorrow and take it to him. He suffered through the stitches and needs proper nourishment." I looked at him in confusion. Sometimes I wonder if Zhou Ming is actually your son, given how concerned you are about him. You're so fixated on him getting good food to recover from his injury. But what about your own child? You pushed me yesterday, and I almost had a miscarriage. Gu Yuanzhou averted his gaze, a flash of guilt crossing his face. But you're fine, aren't you? Mingming lost so much blood. How can you have the nerve to nitpick with a child? Gu Yuanzhou was dead set on siding with Zhou Ming. Nothing I said would make a difference. I suddenly felt utterly exhausted and had no desire to keep arguing with him. Gu Yuanzhou, I want a divorce. The voice was flat, devoid of any emotion. I thought I'd feel reluctant, but there was nothing. It felt like a weight had been lifted from my heart, bringing a wave of relief. Gu Yuanzhou stared in wide-eyed shock, his lips parted and closed, as if he wanted to say something. I gave a faint smile. I know you're in love with Wanji, now that Zhou Zayan is gone. There's nothing standing in your way. You only married me because my parents forced your hand. I should be thanking you, really. If it weren't for you, they would have sold me off long ago. I had hoped we could build a life together. It wouldn't have mattered if you didn't love me. Look at all the couples in the world. How many are truly together for love? Most just lean on each other to get through life. The evening breeze carried a chill against my face, but I'm your wife. I can't stand by and watch you use your brotherhood as a cover for your own selfishness, caring for another's child more than our own. I get disappointed and hurt too. I feel jealousy and resentment too. So, before I become someone I don't recognize, let's get a divorce. I'll set you free, so you can go pursue your true love. Gu Yuanzhou looked at me for a long time before finally uttering a single word. Fine. He twitched his fingers. Let's hold off for now. I'm at a critical moment for my promotion to battalion commander, and a divorce would look bad. Don't worry, I'll make it up to you. I agreed. That hold off lasted until after I had given birth and finished my month of postpartum confinement. Gu Yuanzhou held the divorce application papers, his gaze heavy and somber. Are you really sure about the divorce? Once these papers are submitted, there's no turning back. A military marriage is not a game. Looking at my sleeping daughter, I felt an overwhelming sense of contentment. I never regret my decisions. Submit them. Our divorce caused a huge uproar in the military housing compound. In an era where marriage was considered for life, our actions were highly unconventional, but we got divorced anyway. On the day I left, Gu Yuanzhou saw me off the base. I hitched a ride with the logistics team, taking my daughter all the way to the county town. From there, I bought bus tickets to the city. Thanks to my experience as a wandering spirit in my past life, I knew the college entrance exams would be reinstated in just 1 year. Every single one of the first batch of university graduates became an elite in their respective fields. For my own sake, and for my daughter's, I will seize this life-changing opportunity. The compensation from Gu Yuanzhou, combined with the income from my newspaper articles, was enough to support my son and me. But how could a mere pittance of compensation ever heal the wounds from my past life? So before leaving the army, I anonymously wrote a letter to the leadership, reporting the improper relationship between Gu Yuanzhou and Wang Ji. As for how badly they'd be hurt by it, that was all down to luck. Seasons turned, and I took the college entrance exam, eagerly awaiting the university's acceptance letter. My daughter grew day by day, and could now take a few steps while holding onto a chair. Bang, bang, bang. Thinking my acceptance letter had arrived, I rushed to open the door. When I opened the door, it was Gu Yuanzhou, his face gaunt and weary, my hopes dashed. I was about to close the door when he pulled me into a tight embrace. Lin Xia, I'm sorry, I regret it, I'll divorce Wang Ji. Please come back to me. I was wrong. I should have realized long ago that it's you I love. A good horse doesn't turn back to graze on old pasture. I've long since given up on him. I'm about to embrace a wonderful new life, so why would I take on a second-hand man? I calmly extricated myself from his embrace and looked up at him. What exactly are you regretting? Battalion Commander Gu, if your marriage were happy and your career were thriving, would you still feel this way? You're only coming to me now because you think I can manage your household and let you focus on your career in peace. Gu Yuanzhou, your love is just that shallow. A little hardship was all it took for you to give up on Wang Ji. That anonymous letter thrust Gu Yuanzhou and Wang Ji into the center of a public scandal. The military demoted Gu Yuanzhou on grounds of negative influence, but Wang Ji used it as an excuse to cling to him and force a marriage. After the wedding, Wang Ji, presuming on her new status as an officer's wife, quit her job as a primary school teacher. She had no idea how to take care of children. The eldest son had trashed the house, and a mountain of the baby's soiled diapers was waiting for Gu Yuanzhou to wash when he got home. When Gu Yuanzhou returned from the army barracks, he couldn't even get a hot meal. Wang Ji didn't want to do the housework, so she persuaded Gu Yuanzhou to hire a distant relative from their hometown to help out. It was called help, but in reality, they just hired a nanny. With the nanny, Wang Ji was completely freed up, spending her days dressing up, applying makeup, and painting her lips and brows. Later, Gu Yuanzhou was reported again, accused of exploiting junior soldiers and accepting benefits by abusing his official position. Upon investigation, it turned out to be Wang Ji's doing. Gu Yuanzhou's salary had to cover sending money back home, hiring a nanny, and supporting the daily expenses of a family of 4. There was simply no money left for her to enjoy herself, so she came up with this underhanded scheme. The young soldiers, having been extorted by her for so long, finally couldn't take it anymore and reported her together. Right in the middle of a military reorganization, Gu Yuanzhou was stripped of his rank and sent home to farm the land. Wang Ji, who had so desperately wanted to escape the backbreaking life of a farmer, had ultimately sent herself back to the countryside. Gu Yuanzhou buried his face in his hands. You're right, I brought this on myself. I have no right to ask you to come back. He walked away, utterly dejected. Just as I was about to close the door, a clear, crisp bell rang out from the alley. The mail carrier delivered my letter of admission. The February sun was gentle and warm, and the future unfolded before my eyes. I know, that was the best path I could forge for myself. End of text. Story 2. On the eve of the wedding, a sudden car accident caused my fiancé to undergo a drastic change in temperament, becoming cold, distant, and forgetting me. The doctor said it was due to damage to the central nervous system, and the only solution was to stimulate the brain to awaken past memories. I believed it wholeheartedly. Returning home early from work, the playful voices coming from the room happened to reach my ears. Sage, this move of yours is absolutely ruthless, staging your own car accident and hiring a fake doctor. Even if you fool around wildly before the wedding, Nola Jiang will still forgive you. The playful laughter left me frozen in place, unable to believe what I was hearing. So all of this was Sage Xia's carefully orchestrated scheme. You love pretending, don't you? I wonder if turning our wedding into a funeral will be thrilling enough for you. Outside, my hand on the doorknob slowly loosened its grip, suddenly drained of all strength. The last shred of reason told me to hear what Sage Xia had to say. The sound of laughter inside the house continued. By the way, Sage. How long do you plan to keep this up before going back to normal? Sage Xia said in a lazy tone. About a month. I plan to return to Nola Jiang's side on our wedding day and continue being her devoted and loyal husband. Hearing this, his close friends all wore expressions of astonishment. That's too short. How many influencers have you been with during this time? A month isn't nearly enough, someone exclaimed. Why not just break up? Going through all this trouble just to hide it from Nola Jiang. You shouldn't give up an entire forest for just one tree, someone suggested. Sage, you pursued her for 3 years and have been together for 7, making it 10 years in total. If you seek momentary pleasure and sister Nola Jiang finds out, wouldn't it be a case of gaining little at the cost of much? Some expressed concern, amid the noisy discussions. Sage Xia finally put away his smile, swirling the wine in his glass. He spoke with firm determination, yet, to my ears outside the door at that moment, this so-called determination sounded utterly ridiculous. I will never break up with Nola Jiang. She's the only one I love. It's just that after 10 years together, it's become dull. She's too conservative. There's no passion in our life at all. After a pause, Sage Xia continued, this time, consider it as my last indulgence before marriage, making up for all the lost youth of the past 10 years. When this month is over, and I suddenly remember her at the wedding, wouldn't that be the greatest surprise? Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. The speaker then changed the subject. But what if things go wrong and the plan backfires? Sage Xia wasn't the least bit concerned about this issue. He chuckled lightly and spoke unhurriedly. Who else could Nola Jiang marry besides me? Whether alive or dead, she belongs to me. No matter where she runs, I'll drag her back. Truly domineering. As expected of the young master of the Xie group, his close friends all gave him thumbs up, exclaiming how mighty he was. The ensuing conversation further shattered my perception of them with every word. Amidst the thunder, a torrential downpour began outside the house. I stumbled out of the villa in a daze. I know I shouldn't have stayed there. They didn't expect me to return early, walking into the rain. The bean-sized raindrops hit my face, cold, but not nearly as cold as my heart. My hands trembled, my vision blurred. It wasn't the rain, it was all tears. Long-buried memories were awakened, surging forth. I first met Sage Xia in high school, to be precise, at the freshman welcome party. I took the stage as the grand finale, stunning the entire audience with my dance performance, Graceful Swan. After the party, he cornered me backstage, holding a bouquet of roses, declaring he wanted to pursue me. At that time, Sage Xia had a rather poor reputation in school. So I rejected him outright, but he clung to me like a sticky plaster, refusing to let go no matter what. The meticulous care when I was sick, the bold confession in front of the entire school, getting into fights and punishments out of jealousy, his bruised and battered appearance looking rather ridiculous, all of it made me lower my guard. He said he would love only me forever, and in exchange, I could only dance for him from then on. I agreed. The whole school is buzzing about how Sage Xia, the playboy, has turned over a new leaf and found true love. That's what I thought too, until the car accident right before the wedding. When he woke up, it was like he was a completely different person. Not only did he deny my status as his fiancé, but he also became intimate with many other women. I don't blame him for this. After all, he suffered a brain injury and needs time to recover. Little did I know. The accident and even the doctors were all fake, just an elaborate lie he concocted to justify his infidelity. The courage and confidence that had sustained me shattered into pieces in an instant, like a dog with its spine ripped out. I wept in the rain for a long time, determined to become a roaring lion this time. Sage Xia, I don't want you anymore. Perhaps I was too immersed in my sorrow to even notice when a man appeared beside me, not using an umbrella in the rain. Are you performing some kind of art? A deep voice startled me, and at the same moment, a black umbrella shielded me from the rain. The man who appeared was dressed in a perfectly fitted suit, exuding an aura that kept others at a distance. I hunched my shoulders slightly, grateful that the heavy rain had washed away the traces of my tears. Zane Xia, the youngest son of old Master Xia, close in age to Sage Xia but a generation senior in the family hierarchy, a little uncle. What are you doing here? I was somewhat afraid of him, mainly because his face was truly intimidating. When stern, it looked like he had a criminal record, a complete waste of such handsome features. Without a word, he gave my drenched self a once-over, his voice as cold as the rain itself. Where's that brat Sage Xia? How could he let you wander outside alone in the rain? It's none of his business. I bit my lip, already protecting him before you're even married. Zane Xia's tone was unreadable. Well then, I wish you a lifetime together and a happy marriage. I froze, forcing out an awkward smile as if speaking to myself. There won't be a lifetime together. The sound was very faint, vanishing instantly in the wind. The thunder, mixed with the downpour, drowned out this whisper. And I didn't notice at all the smile hidden behind the curtain of rain. Zane Xia stood tall, with a faint, ambiguous smile, speaking in an extremely low voice. Congratulations. Ignoring the drenched chill, the first thing I did upon returning was to inquire about the name change procedure. The staff on the phone listed the required documents and asked me to come in the next day. The next step was to book a flight. New Zealand, a long-cherished destination, was my choice. The flight was scheduled for the day after the wedding. I won't leave without saying goodbye, only. What's attending the wedding is my corpse. As I was packing, rapid footsteps approached from a distance. I looked up and saw Sage Xia, who was holding a young, beautiful woman as they walked upstairs. Our eyes met. What are you doing? He stopped his right hand's movement on the woman and frowned. None of your business, I replied indifferently. This remark angered Sage Xia, and his expression instantly turned cold. Nola Jiang. Adjust your attitude, you keep claiming to be my fiancé. Yet it was Tess who took care of me after the accident. Agreeing to marry you is already an act of mercy on my part. Such amazing acting skills, I sneered inwardly. Even the doctor was fake, and the car accident was completely fabricated. Instead of answering directly, I turned my gaze to the young woman beside me, a JK skirt paired with black stockings, a slender figure, and a triumphant look in her eyes. Just this outfit alone was enough to have Sage Xia completely under her thumb. He dares to bring her home openly, clearly confident that I'll forgive all his actions during this brain injury period. Probably his favorite bed partner. I felt nauseated. Sage, don't be like this, it's my fault. The woman appeared very understanding, stepping forward to say, hello, I'm Tess Su. I hope my presence won't cause any trouble for you, sister. The scent of green tea is so strong. I don't care what drama they're performing today, and slammed the door shut with a bang. Sage Xia. Your role in my script has come to an end. Watching my unusual behavior, Sage Xia's eyelid twitched. He brought someone home. Shouldn't I be jealous and cry? How could I be so calm? My calmness made him somewhat afraid. Even though he sensed something was off, he didn't delve deeper because there were more important matters at hand. You bad boy, I can't wait any longer. Tess Su deliberately spoke loudly, clearly saying it for me to hear. Sage Xia pinched her. From now on, you're not allowed to provoke Nola Jiang, understand? Since you have feelings for her, why are you still standing by my side? Is it because you can't bear to let me go? You know the answer. Why ask? Their disheveled clothes tumbled onto the master bed as the air thickened with ambiguous hormones. At the critical moment, a framed photo on the nightstand caught Tess Su's attention. The girl in the photo smiled radiantly, but to her, it was unbearably glaring. Tess Su muttered discontentedly, am I not enough for you? Why keep your sister's photo here? What a mood killer. Hearing this, the impatient Sage Xia immediately threw the photo out the window. Below was the villa's trash bin. Forget about that thing. A moment of spring night is worth 1,000 pieces of gold. Let's make the most of our time. With those words, the man pounced on her. The commotion they made was so loud that I could hear every bit of it clearly, even through several rooms. Besides anger, there was also sorrow in my heart. A decade of emotions couldn't be let go of overnight. The once beautiful memories shattered into pieces, cutting my heart into 1,000 wounds. But now wasn't the time to rush over and engage in a messy fight. In just half a month, I would give him a wedding he'd never forget. In the early morning, the room door was suddenly knocked. I got out of bed drowsily to open the door. It was Tess Su. She waved her hand and spoke in a playful tone. Did Sage and I disturb your rest, sis? Get lost, I said expressionlessly. Woo-woo, sister is so mean. I couldn't be bothered to respond and was about to close the door when she blocked it with her hand. Oh right, I added you on WeChat. Accept it. I'm not interested. Don't be so quick to refuse. I've got something good to show you. Tess Su swiftly snatched my unlocked phone, opened WeChat, and accepted the friend request. Seeing my darkening expression, she returned the phone with a grin. If you delete me, you'll definitely regret it. I gritted my teeth and remained silent. Losing my temper would only play right into their hands. Tess Su seemed unsatisfied, retracting her steps as the mockery in her eyes became unmistakable. No sooner had Tess Su left than my phone began to vibrate. She sent over what she called something good. It was a screenshot of her chat with Sage Xia. Just a quick glance, and I froze like a rigid statue. Sage Xia. Don't be mad, baby. Nola Jiang and I are only getting married because we've been together for so long. In my heart, you're the only one I love, and we'll be together forever. The last few words seemed familiar, as if he had once said them to me too. After a moment of daze, I smiled self-deprecatingly. Perhaps I was too greedy, still holding on to the memory of him from when we first met. Next, Tess Su sent a few more unsightly pictures. Then there's a video. Tess-Sue. Big brother is so tired he fell asleep, faced with such provocation. My response was to download the images and video to my phone, along with screenshots of all these words. Arguing pointlessly is meaningless. What I want is a single, fatal blow. Before long, Tess-Sue quieted down. Perhaps my feigned ignorance made her feel like she was punching cotton. Just then, fireworks lit up the sky outside the window, amid the deafening sound of firecrackers. I staggered back to bed like a wind-up doll running out of steam. In the following days, while visiting the police station to change my name, I also contacted a professional fake death manufacturing company through various channels. The cause of death was suicide by jumping into the sea. I immediately paid the deposit, and the other party called with an encrypted line, their voice clearly altered. Miss Jiang, let me confirm with you once again, the date of death is your wedding day. And the location is the Crown Hotel in Jiangqing. If everything is correct, our contract will take effect immediately. Confirmed, no issues. Very well, may your new life be as splendid as a garden in full bloom. After hanging up the phone, I made another trip to the hotel to scout the location in advance. The Crown Hotel, situated by the sea, stands in a league of its own in Jiangqing. My wedding with Sage Xia was to be held on its top floor, which features a large terrace extending over the ocean, providing immense convenience for my plan. What a picturesque spot, truly worthy of being the grave I've chosen for myself. After a busy day, it was already evening by the time I got home. Unexpectedly, Sage Xia, sitting in the living room, seemed to have been waiting for my return. Where have you been? He asked. What's the matter? I countered. I have something for you. Huh, did I hear that right? Did the sun rise from the west today? Sage Xia took out a necklace and handed it over. It was from a brand I quite like. I have to admit, it was unexpected. I hesitated and didn't take it right away. He put his other hand in his pocket, pretending as if nothing had happened. The doctor said I've been recovering well lately. I've remembered some of our past. Don't get too excited yet. Giving you this necklace doesn't mean I've forgiven you. Every word was a lie, yet spoken so righteously. What recovering well? It was just the guilt from his infidelity acting up. I remained calm, a stark contrast to the ecstatic reaction he had anticipated. Just say what's on your mind. The air was silent for a few seconds. Sage Xia seemed hesitant to speak. Perhaps he wanted to ask about my unusual behavior, but then thought it didn't fit his current persona. So he swallowed his words. Grandpa and Grandma want to see us. I don't want to see them. Nola Jiang, stop being unreasonable. I know you're jealous of Tess for receiving my love. You should reflect on yourself. She never puts me in a difficult position. Sage Xia's voice grew louder. You won't even meet your grandparents. Do you still want to get married? Speechless is my mother tongue. It seems that before getting married, I still need to fulfill my final duty as the Xia family's daughter-in-law. Otherwise, canceling the wedding would be such a pity. Got it. I'll go meet them. At 8 in the evening, I got into Sage Xia's car and left the villa. The elderly Mr. and Mrs. Xia live in a detached house in the suburbs. As they've grown older, they've come to fear noise, so living farther away brings them peace and quiet. The journey passed in silence. As soon as I stepped out of the car, the elderly couple's excitement was palpable. Mrs. Xia quickly came forward to grasp my hand, while Mr. Xia stood behind, warmly greeting me. Nola's here. It's cold outside. Come in quickly. There were other relatives inside the house. They all gathered around when they saw me. Everyone started talking at once, urging us to get married soon and asking me to be more understanding of Sage Xia, who hasn't fully recovered from his illness. Ah, what an unexpected calamity. Who could have imagined such a sudden and unforeseen accident? Old Mrs. Xia said earnestly. Nola, you should be more tolerant. Sage has suffered a brain injury, but the doctor said today that his condition is gradually improving. Once you two get married, the Xia family won't treat you unfairly. The old man added a few words, conveying much the same sentiment. I smiled without speaking. Sage Xia is a good actor who fooled everyone who loved him, but now it's my turn to perform. And both he and the Xia family will surely applaud for me. If it weren't for the appearance of Tess-Sue, the atmosphere in the room could have been considered quite harmonious. At the sight of the newcomer, Sage Xia's heart leaped to his throat. Many eyes were curiously examining the young woman who had suddenly appeared. Tess-Sue introduced herself. Hello, grandparents. I'm Sage's friend. I hope you don't mind me coming uninvited. After speaking, she sat very close to Sage Xia, their shoulders nearly touching. This scene made everyone frown, yet they all remained silent in tacit agreement. It's all right. No need to be formal. Mrs. Xia exchanged a few polite words before changing the subject. Nola, you and Sage should hurry up and take your wedding photos. You two are such a perfect match. They'll definitely turn out beautiful. Just as I was about to respond, Tessu cut in first. Her words laced with pointed sarcasm. Sis, did you like the photos I sent you last time? What photos? Sage Xia was startled and instinctively asked. Sister is about to become a bride, so I specially picked out a few beautiful wedding dress photos. What else did you think it was? Us in the middle of the night. Seeing her speak without restraint, Sage Xia swiftly covered her mouth. But Tessu openly batted her eyelashes at everyone. Silence fell. I'd become immune to this. And while the expressions on others' faces were indescribably entertaining, no one made any move to stop it. Faced with such blatant flirting, they chose to turn a blind eye. After all, Sage Xia is their grandson, nephew, cousin, younger brother. After all, I am an outsider. Sage is a good kid. After the brain injury, many things he does aren't intentional. You've been together for so long. Sometimes turning a blind eye is the way to keep the family harmonious. The underlying message was clear. I should be understanding of Sage Xia, who had been in a car accident. Yes, that's true, I nodded. The family gathering that had lost its original flavor finally came to an end after an hour. Tessu leaned close to Sage Xia's ear and whispered something in a hushed voice, after which the two hurriedly left. After bidding farewell to the elderly lady, just as I was about to hail a taxi to go back, a WeChat message popped up, underground parking lot, inviting me as an audience member. Then I'll graciously accept. The elevator descended to the second basement level. The parking garage, exclusive to the building, was nearly empty, with only a Maybach parked inside. It was the same one Sage Xia and I had arrived in together. The rear car door was wide open at this moment, shaking violently. I didn't need to look to know what they were doing. My heart still ached a little. It seemed I'd need more time to fully accept this scene. After confirming it was safe, I opened the camera, found the right angle to take photos, and after snapping a few shots, I simply switched to recording a video out of convenience. Such a magnificent film I cannot enjoy alone. I must also share it with my relatives and friends, letting them admire Sage Xia's heroic and spirited demeanor on the battlefield. Not long after, I quietly left, just as I had quietly arrived. Standing for too long inevitably makes one's legs weak. I wasn't in a hurry to return but wanted to take a bus to relax, no matter where it was headed. But instead of a bus, what arrived was that familiar Maybach. The driver was Tessu. She pulled over to the side of the road and rolled down the window. Sage had something to attend to and left first. Get in, I'll give you a ride. We're heading to the same home anyway. I refused without a second thought. I think it's dirty. Tessu adopted an attitude of a dead pig is not afraid of boiling water, saying, if you won't come up, then I'll come down. What do you want to do? Don't get so worked up, sis. I'm not going to eat you. It's just that the three of us need to settle things once and for all. Wouldn't it be better to clear the air now? I have nothing to say to you. Fine, then I'll just keep pestering you. Wherever you go, I'll go. Whatever you do, I'll do, until you give in. Not only being the third wheel, but also so shameless. We were at a stalemate for a while. Moreover, many vehicles behind were honking their horns in impatience. I compromised. Tessu drove swiftly, weaving left and right through the traffic, her words brimming with boastfulness. You realized long ago that Sage was pretending, didn't you? Why didn't you dare to call it out? He told you to stop provoking me. How could you forget so quickly? I retorted sarcastically. Because I also want to be Mrs. Xia, to appear openly in front of everyone. Then I'll leave him to you. But it's not up to you, nor is it up to me. Tessu held the steering wheel with her left hand while her right hand pulled a diamond necklace from the glove compartment, dazzling brilliantly in the sunlight. Seeing me stunned, her smile grew even more pronounced. It's called Tear of Dreams. Sage spent millions to bid for it and gave it to me. Do you have one, sis? I didn't respond, turning instead to gaze at the scenery outside the window. Memories always catch us off guard. It must have been 5 years ago when I stumbled upon this legendary necklace in a magazine and was instantly captivated by it. Sage Xia, upon learning about it, immediately vowed to buy it for me when we got married, as a testament to our lifelong love. Turns out he didn't forget, he just didn't give it to me. Her gain is not my loss. Since Sage Xia spent real money, it's his freedom to give it to whomever he chooses. So, I didn't feel much resentment. Just a fleeting moment of regret that quickly dissipated. I didn't. Congratulations to you. No matter how much Tessu provoked me afterward, I didn't respond. In the end, I simply closed my eyes, pretending she wasn't there. This dismissive attitude made her extremely unhappy. Tessu stared at the approaching turn ahead, gritted her teeth, and abruptly yanked the steering wheel to the right, crashing straight into a utility pole. Bang! A deafening collision echoed as the Maybach spun out of control and flipped onto the road. Under the violent impact, the windshield shattered. Instinctively shielding myself, I felt the shards slice into my arms like knives, crimson blood dripping profusely. My world spun violently as the deployed airbag slammed into my face. Before consciousness faded, I saw dreams tear right at my fingertips. Summoning the last ounce of strength from my body, I pushed it slightly further away. Then everything went black. I fell into complete unconsciousness. Time lost all meaning in the hospital ward, like years passing unnoticed in the mountains. I don't know how long it had been when I was awakened by a clamor of noise. My eyelids felt incredibly heavy. I wanted to open them but couldn't, only able to catch faint sounds around me. Mr. Xia, the conditions of both patients are critical, but currently, the hospital only has one surgeon available. The patient who doesn't receive timely treatment is at a very high risk of permanent disability. Please make your decision as soon as possible. A long silence, so quiet that you could almost feel the struggle within his heart. Sleepiness soon overwhelmed me again, until Sage Xia's words jolted me awake. Save Tessu first. Those 4 short words felt like a death sentence to me, yet I wasn't surprised he could make such a decision. It's just a bit of a shame. It's a pity that my plan fell through. Sage Xia and the doctor left the ward, and the next second, a familiar voice could be heard outside the door. Sage, this has really blown up now. How do you plan to handle it, and why did you save Tessu first? Are you trying to get Nola Jiang killed? I love her so much. How could I possibly harm her? After we get married, I'll hire the best doctors to treat her slowly. There won't be any problems. Besides, there are still over 10 days left. I just want to have some fun. Sage Xia said with a heavy tone. Tessu has been with me for so long. I can't give her a proper status, but I can't harm her either. The other person let out a long sigh. Aren't you afraid Sister Nola Jiang will find out? She won't know. I've made all the arrangements. On the wedding day, I'll return completely, just like we were before. And I picked out a big diamond ring. She's going to love it. The conversation grew increasingly indistinct as the anesthesia took effect. And I slipped into unconsciousness once more. I had a long dream. In the dream, I was piecing together a massive jigsaw puzzle that would form a portrait of Sage Xia, but there was a missing piece right where the heart should be. No matter how hard I searched, I couldn't find it. My heart ached with a sharp pain as I slowly opened my eyes. Before me was a pure expanse of white, everything blurred and indistinct. I don't believe in gods, let alone heaven, but the flawless, enchanting face that leaned and resembled an angel bending down to kiss a sinner's forehead. You're awake, LL little uncle. I was utterly terrified, belatedly realizing the dream had ended. I'll stop looking for that missing puzzle piece if I can't find it. Besides Zane Xia, there were several doctors in white coats in the room. Their receding hairlines in the classic Mediterranean style clearly indicated their exceptional professional expertise. From now on, conduct a checkup every half hour to ensure there are no lasting after effects. Hearing this, I quickly expressed my gratitude, saying I was fine and there was no need for such trouble. He didn't agree and instructed his bodyguards to buy a lot of nutritional supplements. After bustling around for quite a while, he finally prepared to leave. The young nurse suddenly blocked his path and handed him a form to sign. May I ask what your relationship is with the patient? Zane Xia's hand holding the pen paused for a moment before he replied softly, I am her parent. The young nurse looked surprised, glancing between me and him, then revealed a somewhat perplexed smile. From the hospital bed, I watched him walk away, took a slight breath, and quickly asked, have I already had the surgery? Who has been taking care of me these days? Of course, it's President Xia. Which President Xia? Both of them have the surname Xia. I can't get it wrong. That man just now. The nurse said, exasperated. He was so worried when he found out about your car accident. He mobilized all the top experts in the entire city within half an hour and hasn't slept a wink for a whole day and night. Thank you. Although I was a bit afraid of my uncle, I remembered this kindness. I will definitely repay it. The days that followed were very leisurely. Just resting in the hospital until the eve of the wedding. During this time, Sage Xia appeared occasionally, still with that half-dead attitude. Tessu, on the other hand, was very active, sending me numerous messages every day. They were either photos or videos. I didn't open a single one, but I saved them all without exception. The day before the wedding, I was discharged from the hospital. Today is the day of the rehearsal, and the Crown Hotel is bustling with preparations. A giant poster of me and Sage Xia hangs on the terrace. Tomorrow, I will jump from here. The scheduled time was 2 p.m., but I deliberately arrived early, found the hotel manager, and handed him a USB drive. Replace tomorrow's sweet moment with this. I want to give him a surprise. Since I was the bride, the hotel manager didn't suspect a thing and even cheerfully promised to keep it a secret. Everything is ready now. I wandered aimlessly around the hotel. The venue was beautifully decorated. From the flowers to the ornaments, perfectly presenting the dream wedding Sage Xia and I had once agreed upon, standing there, I still felt somewhat dazed. I, too, had once looked forward to married life with joy, never imagining that in just a few months, a decade-long relationship would vanish into thin air. Lost in thought, the hall door suddenly swung open. Sage Xia, dressed in a bespoke suit, walked in holding Su's hand. I quickly hid behind a pillar, wondering to myself, why had they arrived early too? You villain, what are you bringing me here for? Su said, her jealousy flaring up as she took in the dreamlike scene before her. Sage Xia, on the other hand, was beaming with joy. Tomorrow, Nola Jiang and I are getting married here. Then, I can pretend to be moved by the scenery, naturally recall the past, and completely return to her side. Right now, you are her. Let's rehearse once to avoid any mistakes. With that, he pushed Su to the center of the stage, and the two quickly got into character and began acting. I was just a few meters away from them, and with a glance from the corner of my eye, I could see their heartfelt performance. I had to admit, these two drama queens had some real talent, especially the scene where Sage Xia knelt down to confess and repent for his amnesia. If I hadn't known the truth, I might have actually been fooled by him, and Su, that is, me, magnanimously offered forgiveness. If you ever feel unsatisfied in the future, you can always reach out to me. Su cooed, there won't be a later. Sage Xia's tone turned several degrees colder as he raised his hand to grip her chin. I told you, everything ends tomorrow. From now on, I'll only focus on protecting Nola Jiang. Put away your little schemes. After tonight, you can leave. Is that so? I silently finished the conversation in my heart, had enough fun and want to come back now. How can all the good things in the world be yours alone? Tomorrow, I hope your expression doesn't disappoint me. Sage Xia, we shall never meet again. That night, I cleaned the villa spotless, packed my luggage, and sent it overseas by express, erasing all traces of my existence. Since Sage Xia wasn't here, everything went surprisingly smoothly. Then I double-checked with the company about the new ID card, new phone number, and tomorrow's flight ticket. A new life was right before my eyes. And I couldn't help but smile for the first time in a long while. The next day, Sage Xia was late for my own wedding, probably because I partied too hard last night. Many guests looked displeased, which gave me a reason not to wear the wedding dress. It would be inconvenient when I'd jump into the sea later. The host on stage kept cracking lame jokes to divert attention, but it barely worked. What's wrong with Sage? Did he oversleep on such an important occasion? Hurry up and call him. This is unacceptable. Amidst the surrounding noise, I sat quietly, neither crying nor making a fuss, earning praise from others for being well behaved. Because it rained last night, today is sunny with a gentle breeze. What perfect weather for closing one's eyes. Sage Xia finally arrived, roaring in from the distance in his sports car before parking and dashing straight to the rooftop in one breath. His slightly disheveled collar stood upright, just barely covering the hickey on his neck. He came to our wedding venue. He kept apologizing to the guests, then looked at me affectionately. The award-winning actor Xia was about to begin his performance. Sorry, Nola, I'm late. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone except me was shocked. Grandma Xia was so moved that she stood up, her hands trembling uncontrollably. Sage, you've remembered everything. Grandma, I've remembered everything. Nola Jiang is my true love, Sage Xia declared with unwavering determination. Applause engulfed us, with everyone saying there couldn't be a better ending. No, there's more. I remained silent the entire time, my gaze fixed on Su, who stood in the corner with a face full of resentment. Everyone is here now. The show can begin. The host cheerfully stepped forward, raising the microphone as his voice echoed through the venue. Congratulations to the newlyweds. After a decade-long journey of love, you finally reached this beautiful milestone today. Wedding vows are nothing more than those scripted formalities. Mr. Sage Xia, do you take Miss Nola Jiang to be your wife, to love her, care for her, and respect her, in sickness and in health, for richer or poorer, for as long as you both shall live? Sage Xia smiled and declared with unwavering determination, I do. And what about you, Miss Nola Jiang? The host turned the microphone towards me. I was smiling too, my lips curling as I enunciated each word clearly. I do not consent. Time stood still at this moment. Everyone was wondering if I had misspoken by adding an extra word. Sage Xia's smile froze as he asked in disbelief, Nola, what did you say? I said I don't want to. I repeated. It was clearly a sunny day, yet it felt as though a thunderclap had exploded overhead, including Su. Everyone was left dumbstruck. Grandma Xia urgently exclaimed, Nola, Sage is only half an hour late. Is it really necessary to call off the wedding? Everyone else shared the same thought. Some think I went too far, while others believe I'm trying to raise the price at the last minute. Only Sage Xia felt a sudden pang in her heart, her ominous premonition growing stronger. He stepped forward to grab my hand, but I dodged him. Nola, I know I've been neglecting you lately. You know what? The doctor has already. You want to say the doctor has already declared you cured? That you've remembered me and can live a good life with me now? I interrupted him, intending to sneer, but in that moment, all the grievances and humiliations I had endured recently surged to the surface. My emotions spiraled out of control, and my eyes welled up with tears. But I don't want you anymore. Watching his face grow increasingly pale, I gave a bitter smile. Sage Xia, I'm setting you free. The voice wasn't loud, yet it was enough to reach everyone's ears. By this point in the wedding, no one could remain composed. Sage Xia panicked, his voice suddenly rising several notches. What are you saying? Have you forgotten our promise? We were supposed to grow old together, never to part. I would make you happy, and you would always belong only to me. The response to him was the sudden illumination of a massive OLED screen. Start playing the passionate video of Sage Xia and Tess Su. The sound was loud, echoing throughout the venue. Hundreds of people in the room seemed to have their souls sucked away, staring dumbfounded at the screen, even forgetting to shout stop. Meanwhile, other guests in the hotel were continuously being drawn in. Do you like it? A gentle breeze tousled my hair as I asked Sage Xia with a smile. His pupils shrank to pinpoints, his skin turned paler than a corpse, and he screamed like a madman, turn it off, turn it off. The MC was so anxious that sweat poured down his face, but nothing he tried worked. I planted a virus in the USB drive. It wouldn't be that easy. Tess Su in the crowd turned pale, wanting to run, but her legs were weak, unable to even take a step. She regretted it, but no amount of remorse could turn back time. The entire place descended into chaos, with screams blending into roars, so no one noticed me slowly making my way to the balcony. I stopped at the railing, turned around, and spread my arms. The sight before me was deeply satisfying. What followed was free fall. Look, everyone, what is Nola Jiang trying to do? The Xia family noticed me and rushed forward one after another. Sage Xia was furious, moving at the fastest speed of his life. He flailed wildly, trying to grab me, but in the end, he was just a step too slow. I relaxed my body, closed my eyes, and leaned back, letting my center of gravity shift. The feeling of weightlessness was strange, almost like death. Before plunging into the sea, I saw Sage Xia clinging to the railing, tears and snot streaming down his face. He grabbed at empty air, his mouth wide open as if he had screamed his throat raw, but I could no longer hear. I had never seen him so sorrowful. Sorrow is the greatest demon. This time, it was your turn to bear it, Nola Jiang. Before the crowd could even process my plunge into the sea, a swift figure leaped over the railing beside Sage Xia and dove down. A massive splash erupted on the water's surface. Zane is too impulsive. He's risking his life. Someone exclaimed. Don't worry, he's an excellent swimmer. He could be thrown into the Pacific Ocean and still be fine. Old Mrs. Xia reacted the quickest and made a decisive decision immediately. The hotel has a rescue team. There's still time to fish him out now. At the same time, Zane Xia in the sea was filled with confusion. He had already swum several circles around the spot where he fell into the water, yet found nothing. Could it be that he hadn't searched deep enough? But that didn't make sense either. Based on the buoyancy of the seawater and his own weight, the depth he had descended to was already sufficient. Moreover, the ocean current wasn't particularly strong. Just 100 pounds, where could it possibly have been swept away to? How strange. How could such a living person vanish without a trace? The rescue team on the other side also found nothing. Not even a single strand of hair was discovered. On the terrace, Sage Xia completely broke down, his blood running cold as he let out an inhuman roar of helplessness. At this moment, the big screen is still scrolling through the screenshots of my chat with Tess Su. He stared blankly, his heart aching as if cut by a knife. Tess Su. Nola Jiang, are you out of your mind? I feel like even if you marry Sage, you'd divorce within 2 days. Are you really going to marry him? Tess Su, why don't you beg me? I'll teach you a few tricks, or else your fiancé will keep running to me. Image, Tess Su, if you know what's good for you, hurry up and give up your spot. This is the only time I've responded to her. As you wish. He should have noticed my unusual behavior these days, but he didn't. He was too busy fooling around with Tess Su. Sage Xia clenched his fists, his fingers trembling with force. At this moment, only one thought remained in his mind, to settle the score with Tess Su. She was right there at the scene, so she wasn't hard to find. After searching the entire hotel, they finally cornered her in the bathroom. Sage, you need to calm down. Don't come any closer. Nola Jiang jumping into the sea has nothing to do with me. Tessu knew things had taken a serious turn and kept backing away, blinded by rage. Sage Xia could no longer hold back. He raised his hand with all his might and slapped the face he had kissed countless times. With a sharp slap, Tessu was sent tumbling to the ground, her originally fair skin now swollen, and the blood at the corner of her mouth looking horrifying. "I can explain, please listen to me." Sage Xia trembled with rage, his eyes gleaming with a cold, ruthless light, devoid of any trace of the doting affection he once had for her. "How many times have I warned you not to provoke her? Why did you still send her those messages? It's all your fault, you killed Nola Jiang. It's all your fault." Tessu was so frightened that she burst into tears, dropping to her knees with a thud, her face streaked with tears and snot as she began to babble incoherently in her defense. "Listen to me. It was Nola Jiang who added me first. Actually, she knew from the very beginning that you were lying to her. I only said those things because I love you too much. And I couldn't bear it. That's why I lost my head for a moment." She spoke through sobs and tears, but Sage Xia couldn't take in a single word at that moment. Her words only added fuel to the fire. In a fit of extreme emotion, the man lost control and suddenly grabbed her throat, his fingers tightening as he slowly lifted her up. Tessu struggled, the intense suffocation making her dizzy and disoriented. As if she glimpsed heaven in her daze, before long, her face turned from red to blue, gradually taking on a purplish hue, her desperate eyes bulging as if she might stop breathing at any moment. Even so, Sage Xia continued to exert force, his state now completely frenzied. "Go down and apologize to her in person." Just as Tessu thought she was about to be strangled, the belated guests turned pale at the sight and rushed forward to intervene. It took 3 to 5 people working together to restrain the furious Sage Xia. He endured a few punches. Seething with anger but not daring to speak out, the rescued Tessu knelt on the ground, coughing violently, covering her face and not daring to meet anyone's gaze. It wasn't until Grandma Xia arrived and slapped Sage Xia across the face. This grandson, who had once been her pride, now left her with nothing but endless disappointment. "Was cheating not enough for you? Now you want to be a murderer." Hearing this, Sage Xia calmed down, lowering his head as sobs choked his voice. Once the pride of Jiangqing, he now resembled a stray dog with no home. He let out a hoarse, inhuman sound. "Nola Jiang, don't scare me like this. Please come back quickly, I beg you. I know I was wrong. Punish me however you want. Anything at all. Please don't scare me. I'm not human. I made a mistake. Hit me if you must. Why did you jump?" Bean-sized teardrops fell to the ground one by one. The relatives and friends who had intended to scold him swallowed their words upon seeing him in such a state. Instead of wasting time crying, "You'd better go back and see if she left anything behind. As long as the body hasn't been found, there's still hope." Old Mrs. Xia's words jolted Sage Xia awake. He scrambled into his car and drove off in a frenzy, paying no heed to the chaotic scene left behind. The remaining Tessu naturally became the center of attention. She cried bitterly, but the old lady showed little emotion. "Take her back and keep a close watch on her. The Xia family has plenty of time to settle accounts slowly." "Grandmother, I've spent 2 months with your grandson. Please be merciful and spare me this time. I promise I'll never appear again. I'll disappear forever." Tessu had always dreamed of entering the Xia family's door, but she never imagined it would be in this manner. Wrapped in a tablecloth with her mouth gagged, she was carried into the car by several bodyguards. Muffled sobs echoed through the vehicle, while the rearview mirror reflected the guests who couldn't help but shake their heads. Greed knows no bounds, and such a fate is nothing but self-inflicted. Today's wedding is bound to ruin the Xia family's reputation. But for the bride to jump from such a height without even blinking, how utterly desperate she must have been. "Keep your voice down, just say hello and leave quickly, unless you want trouble." Running several red lights and flooring the accelerator, Sage Xia drove at the fastest speed he'd ever managed in his life. The villa was lit up, and he rushed straight to the second-floor room. Following close behind were a few of his closest friends from that day. They searched every corner of the house but still couldn't find anything related to me. "Something's off. Sage, are you sure Sister Nola Jiang used to live in this room? There's not even a single strand of hair left. I even checked the bathroom drain. It's cleaner than my face. They must have cleaned up in advance. Otherwise, a living person couldn't just vanish into thin air." The bloody reality shattered the last glimmer of hope in Sage Xia's heart, overwhelmed by grief and fury. Darkness clouded his vision as he collapsed to the ground, instantly drained of all strength. On the dropped phone screen were countless sent apology messages, but the only replies were cold red exclamation marks. His close friends had never seen him in such a state before and began offering words of comfort in a clamor of voices. "Cheer up, Sage. There must still be a way. If not, we'll all dive in and fish for a solution together." That's right, and besides, Sister Nola Jiang loves you so much. Maybe she's just playing a trick on you as a joke. Think carefully about whether there's been anything unusual these past 2 days. Don't overlook even the slightest clue. Let's all work together to figure this out. Hearing this, Sage Xia managed to regain some composure. He immediately contacted his secretary to hire a professional team to search the waters, offered a hefty reward for tracking the phone's location. In short, he tried every possible method, whether effective or not. The wait was excruciatingly long, and the oppressive atmosphere weighed heavily on the group gathered together. Sage Xia slumped onto the sofa, as past scenes involuntarily flashed before his eyes, stopping abruptly at a particular moment. Like an electric current jolting through his nerves, he let out a sudden, wordless roar. That photo, the photo he had tossed from the second floor in annoyance while fooling around with Tess Sue. No, it's not nothing at all, as long as I find it. There's still hope. His best friends were startled and, without time to ask questions, had no choice but to follow him as he dashed toward the trash bin. It was here. I definitely threw it here. How can it not be here? Where is it? It has to be here. Come out right now. With bloodshot eyes, Sage Xia muttered to himself while rummaging through the trash. Transformed into a groundhog, he nearly turned the garbage bin upside down. The onlookers behind him were left dumbfounded. They wanted to step forward and help but quickly retreated. No matter how spotless the villa was, how clean could the trash it produced possibly be? The pungent smell could be detected from a distance. Young Master Xia rummaging through the trash without a care for his image was truly a sight to behold. Under normal circumstances, they would have been laughing their heads off, but at this moment, all they felt was a complex mix of emotions, indescribable and overwhelming. In the end, the search yielded nothing. Sage Xia was on the verge of tears. How could it not be here? Where did it go? I would have kept it safe. Please just appear already. He was filled with regret, the kind that tears your heart apart but offers no chance for redemption. Years later, he would still be unable to forgive himself, spending the rest of his life paying for the mistakes of his youth. What are you looking for, Sage? Someone mustered the courage to step forward and help him up. Her photo. Her photo, Sage Xia murmured in a daze. As they spoke, the sky suddenly darkened, and the villa's servants arrived. Upon hearing the commotion, the scene before me was somewhat eerie, making it hard to grasp what was happening at first. Young master, what are you doing? The servant asked cautiously. Where is it? The photo in the trash can. Photo. The trash is cleared daily as per your instructions. I've never seen any photo. The seawater was freezing cold, making me shiver uncontrollably. Fortunately, all the effort wasn't in vain. Receiving the new ID card and passport marked the beginning of a brand new chapter in life. After more than 10 hours of flight, the plane landed in New Zealand in the early morning. At the border checkpoint before entry, I was asked a few routine questions. Miss Xia, may I ask how long you plan to stay in New Zealand? Hello. I've received an offer from the University of Auckland and will stay until my studies are completed. Perhaps because my English was fluent and my documents were in order, the border officer let me pass without further questions. I nodded in thanks, collected my luggage, and walked out of the airport where the prearranged taxi had been waiting for some time. The driver is Chinese. Having settled in New Zealand for many years, and will also be my guide for the next while. Shaoan, the journey must have been quite tiring with all the bumps. The landlord gave me the keys, so I'll take you there now. Thank you, Uncle Zhao. Being in a foreign land, hearing my native language feels especially heartwarming. Next, Uncle Zhao gave me many warnings about things to be mindful of in New Zealand, and I noted them down one by one. The scenery outside the car window was both unfamiliar and beautiful, much like my own feelings. Nervous yet full of anticipation. Shaoan, come to your uncle's place for dinner tomorrow. Uncle Zhao's voice pulled my thoughts back to reality. Oh, that's really too kind, but I couldn't possibly trouble you and your wife. I appreciate the thought though. I politely declined. Don't be so formal, child. My son is coming home tomorrow too, so it's perfect timing for everyone to get together. Unable to refuse such warm hospitality, I had no choice but to agree. Amidst our casual conversation, we arrived at the destination without realizing it. Uncle Zhao helped carry my luggage to the elevator before taking his leave. I booked an apartment, and when I opened the door with the key, the interior decor was warm and cozy, though it only had some essential furniture and items. Everything was neatly arranged and clean. This would be my little nest from now on. After making the bed and freshening up, I had no appetite for dinner from swallowing so much seawater, but jumping into the sea was truly exhausting. An overwhelming fatigue made me fall asleep as soon as my head hit the pillow. I slept soundly through the night. The next day, I wanted to sleep in, but unfortunately, I had plans. I groggily opened my eyes and felt a bit disoriented as I took in the unfamiliar surroundings. It took me a while to realize that I had already left Jiangqing and arrived in a completely new country. New Zealand has a short summer, with winter dominating most of the year. I went downstairs and bought a few winter coats. Having already dyed once, I wasn't as picky as before. As long as they kept me warm, they were good enough. The gathering is scheduled for noon at 12 o'clock sharp, and I'll be there on time. Uncle Zhao's house is also near the University of Auckland, just a few blocks away, so I decided to walk, but it wouldn't be proper to show up empty-handed, so I stopped by a store on the way to pick up some gifts. Shaoen, you're here, come inside quickly, it's cold out. Such a familiar greeting made me momentarily wonder if I hadn't jumped into the sea in vain. Aunt May was very warm, much more talkative than Uncle Zhao. Their son, Zhao Jianxuan, 4 years younger than me, quickly came out to welcome us upon hearing the commotion. Hello, Sister Jinxia. Just from your name, I guessed you'd be a great beauty, and now seeing you confirms it. Hello, Jianxuan, you flatter me too much. It's clear that the whole family really likes me, which actually makes me feel a bit embarrassed. The dinner table was filled with joy, and Aunt May's cooking was fantastic. I had no appetite yesterday, but today I managed to eat 2 bowls of rice. Turns out Zhao Jianxuan is also a student at the University of Auckland. After finding out we were alumni, he kept calling me senior nonstop. I told him it sounded awkward, but he wouldn't listen, so I just let it be. In the days that followed, we became much closer. He recommended some famous local restaurants and fun attractions to me, and gradually, I started to adapt to life here. Soon, the day of school opening arrived. On the first day of school, I successfully joined the international student community and made many new friends. After a few days of interaction, everyone became much closer. Besides studying, I also took on part-time jobs to earn some pocket money, finding joy in the balance of work and study. Jinxia, have you ever had a boyfriend? Share some fun stories with us. After several rounds of drinks and dishes, someone started it, and soon everyone was venting about their exes. Hearing this, my beaming smile froze in place. Not only had she been in a relationship, but it escalated to the point where she jumped into the sea to commit suicide on her wedding day. The truth is too shameful to speak of, and I intend to take this secret to my grave. To be honest, after all this time, thinking of the name Sage Xian no longer brings any sadness, but being cheated on after a 10-year relationship is undeniably a tragic story. No matter how you look at it, I don't want to see expressions of sympathy or pity on anyone's face. Just as I was pondering how to change the subject, Zhao Jianxuan spoke up. Seems like your story isn't very interesting, sister. How about listening to mine instead? His 2 sentences successfully diverted the attention, though I couldn't help but notice his occasional glances in my direction, as if he had caught a whiff of something unusual. When the feast ended and everyone had eaten and drunk their fill, he approached me on his own. Did today's topic touch on something that upset my sister? Don't worry about it, kid, I smiled. Zhao Jianxuan protested. I'm not a kid anymore, you can rely on me. I ignored him, hailed a taxi, and made my exit. As someone who's been through it all, how could I not understand his feelings? It's just that I don't have the energy to invest in a new relationship, to gamble on the outcome of yet another romance. Returning home, I took a hot shower. Lying in bed, I turned on my phone and logged into the new WeChat account I had registered while still in China. Countless pop-up messages chimed incessantly, because my death set off a firestorm on the domestic internet. On the wedding day, the bride jumped into the sea, while the big screen played a scandalous video of the groom rolling in bed with another woman. The protagonist was none other than the young master of the Xie group, and the incident's popularity completely dominated the headlines of all major platforms. The comment section was flooded with uniform curses and accusations. These scumbags make me so angry. Can we apply to have them both executed by firing squad? This is murder, woo-woo. How desperate must Nola have been to end her life by jumping into the sea? The murderer must be severely punished. In the past, this would have warranted being drowned in a pig cage. They should join Nola down there. I appreciate the kindness of netizens, but keeping me company is entirely unnecessary. Sage Xia and Tess Su have become the targets of public criticism, facing condemnation from all sides. Meanwhile, Xia Corporation's stock continues to plummet, with losses beyond imagination. Strangely, the 2 protagonists have yet to speak out or make an appearance, as if they've vanished from the face of the earth. I watched for a while but soon lost interest. However, a video captured by a surveillance camera in the comments section caught my attention. In the video, a blurry figure was frantically rummaging through a trash bin, making me frown even through the phone screen, but based on the surroundings and my familiarity with him, I was certain that figure was Sage Xia. How come I never noticed before? he's quite the performance artist. I turned off my phone, suppressing the jumble of thoughts in my mind, and turned to gaze at the stars in the night sky through the window. I don't know which one is Grandma. If Grandma were still here, I wouldn't have been deceived so badly. Tears fell silently. Recalling those 30 days of putting on an act with Sage Xia still sends chills down my spine. Fortunately, everything is over now. The wonderful life that belongs to Jin Xia has just begun. Still no news. After a night of heavy drinking, Sage Xia smelled the strong scent of disinfectant and felt nauseous. My head is throbbing, my stomach is churning violently, and my whole body is convulsing with spasms. He clearly drank at the villa last night, so how did he end up at his grandparents' detached house? You're awake. Grandma Xia couldn't hide the disappointment in her eyes. Grandma, any news about Nola Jiang? How dare you even ask? Old Mrs. Xia was so furious that her hands and feet suddenly became nimble. She stepped forward, raising her cane as if she couldn't wait to strike. For the sake of a woman, you've ruined the Xia family's century-old reputation. Do you know what people are saying out there? How can you even show your face in public? After saying this, her frail old body was racked by violent coughing. Sage Xia's friends were quick on the uptake and immediately stepped forward to calm the situation. Grandma, don't get too worked up. You mustn't let anger harm your health. Sage is just young and doesn't know any better. Once the hype dies down, everything will be fine. They then earnestly advised Sage Xia with well-meaning words. Nola Jiang has been missing at sea for over a month now. No sign of her alive or dead. Sage, there's no need to cling to just one tree and hang yourself. Exactly, with your status, you could have any woman you want. Why torture yourself like this? These words, Sage Xia has heard countless times, yet he turns a deaf ear to all of them, treating them as nothing more than the wind passing by. No one could understand the obsession in his heart. A decade of emotions couldn't be shattered with just a few words. He clenched his teeth tightly, his gaze firm and stubborn, his pale face devoid of any color. This demeanor completely enraged old lady Xia. How long will you remain deluded? Look at yourself. Where is the bearing of a corporate heir? I'm trying to arrange a marriage for you now, but no one would even consider you. You're the only son of the family, yet all the upbringing you've received since childhood has gone to the dogs. If you still don't know how to behave properly, you might as well stop using the Xia surname in the future. With that, the old lady didn't even glance at him and stormed off in anger. The room instantly fell into a deathly silence. Sage Xia propped himself up on the ground, rubbing his aching forehead, his voice weary and hoarse. Don't just stand there, you lot. Hurry up and think of a way to find her. Sage, you're truly impossible to reason with. Besides, there's a 99% chance Nola Jiang is already dead. Someone sighed and said, the old lady is already looking for a new girlfriend for you. I heard she could arrange your marriage as early as next month. Even Sage Xia found it absurd. With my current reputation, is there still someone willing to marry me? Of course, those from equal social standing wouldn't consider you, but given the Xia family's vast wealth and influence, there's no shortage of ordinary girls eager to marry into a wealthy family. Sage Xia snorted coldly, his gaze icy. Even if Nola Jiang really dies, I won't marry them. Just by his tone, it was clear he wouldn't let this go easily. His friends grew anxious. Sage, since when did you start playing the pure love game? Marrying anyone is the same anyway. In our circle, marriage is just a transaction. It won't stop you from having fun later. Besides, even if Sister Nola Jiang comes back, her family background still isn't good enough for you, so what if the bride gets swapped? These words were clearly not what Sage Xia wanted to hear. He hadn't expected that even his closest friends wouldn't stand on the same side as him. His face darkened. Help if you can, otherwise get out. In this lifetime, I'll only marry Nola Jiang, and I'll never change my mind. Truly obstinate and unyielding, the group exchanged glances, ultimately swallowing their words and making a hasty retreat. Only Sage Xia remained seated in the room, so quiet it felt as if the world had abandoned him. All the sounds were fading away as he closed his eyes, lost in countless thoughts. He recalled our first meeting, the promise to grow old together, the carefully prepared anniversary gifts, the silent companionship by the sickbed. In the end, tears streamed down his face. Outside the door, Zane Xia witnessed everything that had just unfolded. He never expected to come home to such a dramatic scene. The man remained impeccably dressed in his suit, effortlessly concealing a glint of schadenfreude in his eyes. He took out his phone and made a call. A crisp female voice answered, President Xia, we've checked everything. There's no record of Miss Jiang departing from Jiangqing Airport, train stations, or bus terminals. Could it be an unlicensed taxi? How long would it take to track that down? Zane Xia felt he was missing some details and began recalling their few encounters. He suddenly remembered the unfamiliar name he'd glimpsed at the hospital. A thought struck me, look up the surname and as quickly as possible. As winter gave way to spring and time passed, I completely integrated into the local community and the campus atmosphere at the University of Auckland. I attended classes on time every day, worked part-time in my free hours, and occasionally gathered with a few friends for meals when the mood struck. In short, I was very satisfied with my current life. The next goal is to obtain permanent residency, as there's nothing left to miss on the other side of the ocean. Today is the weekend. New Zealand truly lives up to being one of the countries farthest from the mainland. Even gossip news arrives much later here. Zhao Jianxuan and a few other friends rushed to find me in a hurry. Jinxia, look quickly. This news is absolutely explosive. I can't believe I'm only just hearing about this juicy scandal now. On the phone my friend handed me was the video of the day I jumped into the sea at my wedding. My heart skipped a beat, and I quickly checked to make sure my face wasn't clearly visible in the video before letting out a sigh of relief. Then he casually remarked, "You guys are way behind the times. I already got the scoop ages ago." Great. Keeping gossip to yourself, huh? The group was buzzing with heated discussion when Zhao Jianxuan indignantly exclaimed that Sage Xia is utterly despicable, cheating, sneaking around, and then playing the victim. He should just disappear. Thank goodness the girl found out the truth before the wedding. But jumping into the sea over such scum is just not worth it. A friend chimed in, she's practically a heroine. I feel like flying back home just to pay my respects to her by the sea. It's too much trouble to fly around, just look it up online. I quickly stopped her train of thought. She's not even dead yet. What's with the worship? But I really want to know. What's her name? What does she look like? She's so brave. Someone else chimed in. Listening to this, my head was spinning. Where did all this curiosity come from? If you actually find out, how am I supposed to explain it? I just happen to look like the deceased. Miscalculation. I should have gotten plastic surgery in advance. Guess what I found? Zhao Jianxuan suddenly said, with a hint of smugness. All eyes turned toward him. He opened WeChat, where the dialogue box displayed the resume and information of the bride in question, which he had asked a friend back home to gather. The title read, hashtag what is the Xia family hiding? A complete breakdown of the Crown Hotel drowning incident hashtag, as he zoomed in on the image, about to show it off to everyone. His gaze landed on the youthful photo and he froze instantly. The girl in the photo had delicate features, arched brows and phoenix eyes, the very image of a classic beauty. Zhao Jianxuan seemed somewhat entranced, then looked up at me again, his expression shifting from confusion to disbelief. The bride who jumped into the sea, looks exactly like Sister Jinxia, lost her soul. Show us quickly, someone urged. Sorry, my mistake, got excited for nothing. Zhao Jianxuan hid his phone behind his back and let out an awkward laugh. Everyone felt bored and, after exchanging a few meaningless words, dispersed. I was about to leave as well when he quietly called me back. What's wrong? Sensing his gaze, I had a bad feeling. After hesitating for a moment, Zhao Jianxuan got straight to the point. A friend of mine back home dug up some inside information. The girl who jumped into the sea was named Nola Jiang. But, you two look incredibly alike, sister. Do you know her? What is destined cannot be avoided. My greatest fear had arrived. I didn't rush to deny it. Instead, I reached out my hand. Oh, let me see. Taking the phone handed by Zhao Jianxuan, I lowered my gaze to the screen, my brows involuntarily furrowing. It was a photo of me, a high school ID photo. In fact, I couldn't even find it anymore, yet it had somehow been dug up. Clearly, I underestimated the determination of modern netizens when it comes to gossip. Though many years have passed and I've matured quite a bit, the basic features remain unchanged. Anyone with a discerning eye could tell it was me. Besides, Zhao Jianxuan wouldn't have asked if he wasn't sure. Playing dumb wasn't a long-term solution. After a quick internal struggle, I finally decided to come clean. Nola Jiang was my previous name. After jumping into the sea, I changed it when I came to New Zealand. Perhaps the information overload was too much. As Zhao Jianxuan's mouth formed an O shape, his eyes wide with shock, clearly quite startled, he even began to stutter. You're actually the same person. So jumping into the sea was just a diversion. You wanted them to think you were dead. I nodded. Yes, wouldn't it have been easier to just break up with him? Why go through all this trouble? Isn't it too much? Before he could finish speaking, he suddenly had an epiphany. Right. Breaking up directly would definitely lead to endless pestering. Better to end it cleanly like this, I chimed in, my tone filled with resignation. It is a bit troublesome. Many things have happened beyond my expectations. But since I'm currently far abroad, it should be manageable. To keep a secret, the fewer who know, the better. At this thought, I glanced sideways at Zhao Jianxuan. seriously considering whether to silence him for good. You know what to do, right? Don't worry, sis. My lips are sealed. Zhao Jianxuan immediately expressed his loyalty, then added with concern, but I see this news has caused quite a stir. It seems he doesn't believe you're dead and is hoping to find you one day to continue harassing you. With so many people at the school, there's no guarantee someone else won't recognize you like I did. What should we do then? What he said was exactly what worried me the most. I let out a sigh. Don't worry, he doesn't know I've changed my name. I'll lay low for a while and cover up well when I go out. If it really comes to it, I can always get plastic surgery. I guess that's all we can do. He was sullen, lost in thought. Seeing this young man genuinely worried for me, it would be a lie to say I wasn't touched. I deliberately spoke lightly, trying to ease the tension. Just an ex-boyfriend. No need to be jumpy at every sound. But he just doesn't seem like a normal person to me. I'm genuinely afraid he might retaliate against you. Zhao Jianxuan said urgently. I absolutely won't allow such a thing to happen. I didn't know how to respond, so I simply stayed silent. Realizing he had lost his composure, he awkwardly scratched his head and asked softly, then should I call you Nola Jiang, or Njin Xia? Calling me by my original name would make changing it pointless. I rolled my eyes. This guy doesn't seem too bright. Zhao Jianxuan chuckled. Sister Jin Xia. Look ahead. You've already passed through the darkest phase of your life. The future is bound to be bright. At least you know how to talk. I praised him. But in the following days, I deliberately avoided him whenever possible. I even declined Uncle Zhao's invitation to dinner again, using my heavy academic workload as an excuse. I'm not a naive 17 or 18-year-old girl. I can clearly see Zhao Jianxuan's ulterior motives. I treat him like a younger brother, but he wants to date me. To avoid unnecessary misunderstandings, it's better to maintain a proper distance. May 5th, Dragon Boat Festival. On the 68th day since the wedding maritime accident, Sage Xia still has no news about my whereabouts. It should be a time for family reunion, yet the villa is eerily silent. Lying on the bed in my room, he keeps replaying memories of the past, his tears long dried from crying. The determination to find me, once so firm, was finally worn away by collapse and despair. The once high-spirited Prince of Jiangqing now looked as aged as if he were on his deathbed. Friends all advised him to yield to the old lady, to stop persisting. Nola Jiang had already sunk to the bottom of the sea, and it was time to abandon unrealistic fantasies and futile efforts. Yet he spent his days either drowning in alcohol or lost in repentance, his numb soul reduced to an empty shell. The door suddenly swung open from the outside, letting in a beam of light. A few friends swam in, their faces filled with excitement. Sage, incredible news. We might have found a trace of Sister Nola Jiang. What did you say? Sage Xia staggered to his feet, his dull pupils reigniting with intensity. He grabbed the speaker by the collar and roared, tell me quickly, where was she found? I heard from a friend that Zane Xia discovered a girl overseas who bears a striking resemblance to Sister Nola Jiang. He's already left for New Zealand, Uncle. Sage Xia froze. He's also looking for Nola Jiang. Yes, my friend works under him. It's absolutely true, though doubts lingered. Now was not the time to dwell on irrelevant matters. The crucial point was that, whether true or false, they couldn't afford to let go of this sole lead. He immediately wanted to book a flight. But his friend stopped him, pouring cold water on his plans. Sage, don't rush. Tess Su is still locked up in the Xia family. Without dealing with her, how can you bring the person back? If you ask me, you might as well go all the way, send her abroad and make her disappear forever. When Nola Jiang sees your sincerity, wouldn't the chance of her forgiving you be even greater? A word awakens the dreamer. Sage Xia realized these so-called strategists were right and gladly adopted their plan. But the old lady kept Tess Su under strict surveillance, making it difficult to even get close. Friends offered all sorts of suggestions, but none were usable. Forget it, he might as well do it himself. Oakland Central Avenue. After hiding for half a month, I was still caught by Zhao Jianxuan while shopping. Even with my face covered beyond recognition, he still managed to find me. Let me see where I can find a crack in the ground to hide. Why are you avoiding me? Zhao Jianxuan blocked the way ahead. His eyes slightly red, the young man had bright eyes and white teeth, with a tall and slender figure, standing out dazzlingly in the crowd. No, I've just been really busy lately. What are you doing here? I tried to brush it off. At the same time, I wondered if I should make things clear, but since he hasn't confessed, wouldn't it be presumptuous to rush into rejecting him? He rolled his eyes at me, just like I did last time. I've been waiting here for you for a long time. What's the matter? I've been thinking a lot lately about how to help you get rid of your ex-boyfriend. As he said this with a serious expression, a wave of guilt suddenly welled up in my heart. I just wanted to avoid him, yet here he was, thinking about me. It was a long-lost feeling, being cared for so deeply, but it came at such an inappropriate time. Zhao Jianxuan looked at me earnestly, as if the words he was about to say made him a little nervous. Jinxia. I know you've been deeply hurt and have resistance to new relationships, but it's okay. I'll stay by your side and help you heal slowly. Actually, I've liked you from the moment I first saw you. I want to protect you. You're a good girl and shouldn't be treated this way. I think if I let you go, I would definitely regret it. Give me a chance. I'm not just the little brother you see in me. I'm a truly responsible man. Even if it's just a chance to pursue you, okay. Can this be considered a confession? It was so sudden that my brain just froze. The prepared rejection speech was right on the tip of my tongue. All I had to do was say it, but my mouth felt like it was sealed shut, and not a single word would come out. Stupid mouth, hurry up and speak. Is the way to get rid of my ex-boyfriend to start dating you? I rephrased my question. Zhao Jianxuan quickly waved his hands and hurriedly explained, no, it's because I want to tell you how I feel. Would you be willing? Facing his hopeful gaze, I didn't soften my heart, even though what I was about to say would hurt, because an ambiguous answer would be irresponsible. How would that be any different from Sage Xia, who played with people's emotions? I took a deep breath, ready to make things clear, when suddenly, a deep voice, both unfamiliar and familiar, came from behind me. She doesn't want to. Those 4 simple words sent a shiver down my spine. Wait, wasn't I in New Zealand? How could I still hear that voice? Was it an auditory hallucination? I couldn't be sure, nor did I dare to turn around, afraid that I might face that icy expression and shatter the tranquility of my life. Nola Jiang, the voice came again, this time clearer than before. No way, my heart was pounding, and in my panic, all I wanted was to escape. I had barely taken a step when my legs gave way, and I stumbled over a rock, losing my balance and nearly falling flat on my face. A pair of large hands caught me from behind, gripping my shoulders to steady me. Then, a perfect profile appeared beside me. It was indeed Zane Xia. Finally, I've found you. He stared at me with a meaningful look. For the first time, I saw a different emotion on his face. Mister, you've got the wrong person. Thankfully, I had disguised myself before going out. As long as I refused to admit it, I'd be fine. Zane Xia curled his lips and bent down to look into my eyes through his sunglasses. Care to chat? Before I could respond, Zhao Jianxuan stepped forward, shielding me behind him and preparing for a confrontation. His tone was unfriendly. You've scared my friend. May I ask who you are? She knows who I am. Zane Xia spoke slowly, like a hunter who had caught his prey. Running away won't solve anything, even if you change your name. I'm here on behalf of the Xia family to give you an explanation. Hearing this, Zhao Jianxuan had basically guessed Zane Xia's identity. The gazes of both men were fixed on me. One was full of concern, the other inscrutable. I don't owe anyone an explanation. I'm perfectly content with my life now. Taking off my sunglasses and mask, I said firmly, having finally started a new life, I didn't want any further connection with the past. At this point, Zane Xia didn't press further. He sighed as if feeling somewhat regretful. I respect your decision. I brought the belongings you left at the company. They're in the car. I'll leave after you take them. Surely you won't refuse this. I nodded in agreement, and Zhao Jianxuan also wanted to follow, but he was stopped. My car isn't welcoming you. These two clearly met for the first time, so why is the tension between them so thick? I comforted Zhao Jianxuan. It's fine, he won't hurt me. Don't worry. Zane Xia walked ahead, and I followed closely behind. His car was parked across the street. A full-size SUV with plenty of space. I had no intention of getting in, but he hoisted me up in one swift motion. The interior of the car was dimly lit, amplifying the man's intimidating presence. Where is it? I asked anxiously, eager to get out of the car. The sound of the car door locking answered me. He sat beside me, a faint smile playing at the corners of his lips, his sharp phoenix eyes exuding a chilling aura as he whispered. Do you really think you can leave? What do you want? I tensed up as if facing a formidable enemy. Taking you back, you're not playing fair. Didn't you just say you'd respect me? After a few seconds of silence, Zane Xia's massive frame suddenly leaned in, with one hand braced against the car roof and the other resting on the back of my seat. He came close without physical contact, maintaining a barely there distance. He was so tall that I only reached his chin. His entire body like a wall looming over me. Instinctively, I tried to retreat, but there was nowhere to go. Are you avoiding me? He raised an eyebrow. Come down quickly, stay away from me. I told you, just say it directly if you have something to say. I was going crazy, yet didn't dare to anger him. What kind of words need to be said in such a strange posture? Sage Xia pursed his lips slightly, his eyes misty with emotion. He leaned in closer, coaxing softly by my ear. I'm much better than that little brat, why don't you give me a chance to prove it? What chance? My mind went completely blank. A chance to pursue you. A single sentence sent shivers down my spine. Has the world gone mad? Encountering 2 confessions in one day, both equally terrifying. Zane Xia, have you lost your mind? I almost married your nephew. The one who almost married Sage Xia was Nola Jiang. What does that have to do with me liking in Jin Xia? Zane Xia suppressed the sharpness in his eyes, his tone softening considerably. I'm not crazy, it's just that after you jumped into the sea, I thought I'd never see you again. I stopped struggling and stared at him in a daze. He smiled self-deprecatingly and continued, luckily, it was all a false alarm, but I know I can't wait any longer, nor can I let anyone else have you. It doesn't matter if you don't agree now. I'll fight and snatch, no one can outcompete me, until you say yes. Every word he said sounded like Greek to me. I had never seen Zane Xia like this, out of control, domineering, and utterly unreasonable, but having just ended a failed relationship, I really had no heart to consider these things. Your career is all in China, and I can move the company to New Zealand, he interrupted. Your family is all in Jiangqing. They're not as important as you. Well, what else can I say? The Xia family members are all hopeless romantics. Telling them no is pointless, they'll only get more excited. Will you come back with me for a while? Zane Xia said softly, his eyes flashing with violence. I will stand up for you. Your grievances won't go unanswered. They may regret it, but they haven't faced the consequences they deserve. I will make them pay. Sage Xia pleaded with the old lady for several days before she finally agreed to let him see Tessu. The place where they were keeping her was very secluded, on the top floor of a standalone building. Showing no ill intent, the bodyguards released him immediately after confirming they had been instructed to do so. With a loud bang, the long sealed door swung open. Seeing Tessu again, the once beautiful and glamorous woman was now emaciated beyond recognition, disheveled and rambling incoherently. As if her mind had also been affected, clear evidence of the severe torment she had endured during this time. At the sight of the visitor, Tessu crawled fearfully into a corner, her voice trembling. What are you doing here? Please spare me. I beg you, spare me. Seeing her neither human nor ghostly appearance, Sage Xia had lost all interest. Without a word, he threw a plane ticket onto the ground. I'm sending you abroad. Disappear forever from now on. The unexpected surprise sounded like heavenly music to Tessu. Anywhere would do, she just wanted to escape this hell. Tears instantly burst forth as she picked up the plane ticket and scrambled to cling to Sage Xia's leg, looking up at him with uncontrollable excitement. Sage, I knew you still cared about me deep down. I promised to disappear forever, never to appear before you and Nola Jiang again. With that, she cowed out heavily several times, looking down from his superior position. Sage Xia clenched his teeth bit by bit. Perhaps my name struck a nerve, or perhaps the recent humiliation surged up in his mind. His expression twisted from calm to contorted. A sudden burst of rage made him deliver a vicious slap. In Tessu's current physical state, she couldn't withstand it at all. Broken teeth mixed with blood spilled across the floor, leaving her in a pitiful, unrecognizable state. Sage Xia let out a beast-like roar. I spared you, but who will spare me? All of this is your fault. If it weren't for you, why would Nola Jiang leave? How could I have been seen naked by everyone? You ruined me. You destroyed the Xia family. Your life alone isn't enough to make up for it. Your entire family should be buried with you. I'll spare your wretched life and send you abroad. Use your special skills to seduce those old men and cling to survival. For the rest of your days, you'll atone for Nola Jiang's suffering. Tessu, with her breath as faint as a thread, did not beg for mercy or wail. Instead, she let out an eerie laugh. Days of torment had long since shattered her mind, leaving her in a deranged state. Her lips stretched to her ears like a clown's grotesque grin. Nola Jiang didn't jump into the sea because of me. It was because of you. Ignoring Sage Xia's darkened expression, Tessu recklessly vented the resentment she had suppressed deep in her heart. It was me who came onto you. Me who sent those videos. But you didn't refuse, did you? If you could have kept your pants on, what could I have possibly done to you? To sneak around with me, you neglected Nola Jiang, even went so far as to fake amnesia. Whether Nola Jiang is angry at me or disappointed in you, deep down, you know the truth. Blaming me is just your way of being a hypocrite, wanting to have your cake and eat it too. Today's disaster is entirely your own doing. Serves you right that Nola Jiang would rather jump into the sea than marry you. Every word struck Sage Xia's sore spots with precision, sharper than a blade, cutting his heart to bloody ribbons. He completely lost his sanity. I'll kill you. Sage Xia kicked Tessu to the ground and pounded her with relentless punches, quickly staining the floor with blood as the metallic scent filled the entire room. Piercing screams mingled with laughter. adrenaline wailing its final lament. Tess-Sue was almost unconscious and could no longer feel pain, yet the terrifying laughter still didn't stop. She had already fallen into an abyss, with no hope of survival. Only one thought remained in her muddled mind: drag Sage Xia down to hell with her. Hatred burned through her life, and her severely exhausted body erupted with unprecedented power, unleashing it all in this moment. Blinded by rage, Sage Xia was caught off guard and thrown to the ground, before he could even get up to fight back. A fruit knife was already plunged into his body. Excruciating pain tore through him as Tess-Sue, like a demon, mindlessly pulled the knife out and stabbed it back in. 1 stab, 2 stabs, 3 stabs. The soundproofing in the confinement room was truly excellent. Desperate screams echoed one after another, yet the bodyguards outside remained completely unaware. It was you who destroyed me. It was you who destroyed me. Blood splattered on Tess-Sue's face. The price of a life burning out was death. She exhausted her last ounce of strength and finally collapsed straight down, no longer breathing. Sage Xia lay in a pool of blood, wanting to call for help but only gurgling blood in his throat. He could no longer hear anything, all sounds fading away, leaving him alone at the center of a pitch-black world. So this is how cold the world could be. In his final moments, the memories of the past flashed before his eyes like a revolving lantern. Only the scene had turned from color to black and white. He saw that year in high school, when he was mesmerized watching Nola Jiang dance from the audience, saw Nola Jiang accept his marriage proposal, saw Nola Jiang cry until her eyes were swollen because of the fake car accident. He wanted to say sorry, but all he could do now was shed tears. An endless chill swept over him. He was about to enter another world. The door suddenly opened, light poured in, as if the gates of heaven had swung wide. The silhouette appeared like an angel had come to take him away. Could someone like him really enter heaven? Young master, young master. The bodyguard's scream made Sage Xia think he was hearing things. The figure at the door wasn't an angel, but a real person. He steadied his gaze. It was the very person he had been longing for day and night. I never expected that upon returning to Jiangqing, I would witness such a tragic scene. I had imagined several ways to bid farewell to Sage Xia, but never anticipated this one. A scream pierced through the detached villa, drawing almost everyone to the scene. 2 bodyguards wanted to save Sage Xia but found themselves helpless, anxiously at a loss. In truth, anyone with eyes could see that such severe injuries were beyond saving. Even if a divine healer were to intervene, Sage Xia seemed to notice me. He raised a bloodied finger, trying to crawl toward me, but Tess-Sue's corpse pinned him down, leaving him unable to move an inch. Their blood mingled together, indistinguishable as to whose was whose, like winding rivers of dark crimson. A living hell, no exaggeration. Sage Xia and Tess-Sue are together forever now. I recalled that screenshot where he told her, "We'll be together forever," and looking back, it turned out to be a prophetic statement. Sage, Sage. The old woman fainted from grief while holding the lifeless Sage Xia in her arms, and the scene descended into chaos. No one had the presence of mind to pay any attention to me anymore. The emotions in my heart were indescribable. I had left this place of trouble by faking my death through jumping into the sea, but he met his true end at such a young age. Zane Xia grabbed my hand and murmured, "Don't look anymore." Even he was utterly shocked. He had originally intended to return and teach that despicable couple a lesson, but never expected to be confronted with 2 cold corpses instead. The anger dissipated, leaving only sighs of regret. We stepped outside, standing in the sunlight as we watched medical personnel coming and going. The old lady was carried into the ambulance on a stretcher. Death had never felt so close to us. "Do you think?" I knew what Zane Xia wanted to ask. With a light laugh, I felt a sense of relief, letting go of him and also freeing myself. I don't hate him anymore. Let everything become the past. The wind picked up, scattering my hair in all directions. I tucked the strands behind my ears and forced a faint smile at Zane Xia. "I'd like to take a walk alone to clear my mind. With such a major incident, you should go attend to your duties." Truthfully, I felt nothing at all. Tomorrow would be a brand new day. It's just that some people would forever remain in yesterday. 24. In just over 2 months, the Xia family shocked Jiangqing twice. Upon learning that the much-maligned male and female leads of the viral video had both met their demise, netizens couldn't help but lament the unpredictability of life. No matter how grave their past mistakes were, everything is now wiped clean. The worst was yet to come. Unable to bear the grief of losing her grandson, the old lady soon passed away as well. After staying in Jiangqing for a while, I prepared to return to New Zealand, with no plans to come back unless under special circumstances. Zane Xia insisted on accompanying me back after handling the funeral arrangements. Let him be. For the next 2 years, I focused wholeheartedly on my studies and successfully graduated from the University of Auckland. Meanwhile, he relocated his company to New Zealand and quickly monopolized the local industry. Zane Xia told me not to look for a job and instead join his company, offering me any position and salary I wanted. I refused. Life was so ordinary, yet incredibly fulfilling. Soon, for years passed in the blink of an eye, I felt that at most, we were just cohabiting to get by. Yet he was always cheerful all day long, though I couldn't fathom what he was so happy about. That world-weary face full of resentment was nowhere to be seen anymore. One day, Zhao Jianxuan came running over excitedly, barely able to contain his joy. Sister Jinxia, great news, your permanent residency permit has been approved, is that so? Feeling a bit smug, I boasted to Zane Xia, who was cooking, you don't have one, do you? He took it and glanced at it, pretending to be disappointed. I don't, but tomorrow I'll donate money to build a new building, getting one shouldn't be a problem. I was completely deflated and scolded him for taking shortcuts. Zhao Jianxuan joined my faction, only to be thrown out by Zane Xia. Time flies. Domestic affairs are drifting further away from us. Occasionally reminiscing about the past always carries a hazy, indistinct quality, hard to see clearly. The name Sage Xia was thus lost in the river of time, never to be mentioned again. No matter how many regrets and gains or losses there were in the past, one should let go of the burden and embrace the new spring and a fresh start with a renewed spirit. Reflect on my past, and join me in looking up to spring.